On the record, good evening, everyone. This is a caucus of the Jersey City Municipal Council. Today is Monday, May 7th in the year 2018. We had a scheduled 5:30 p.m. start. It's 5:45 p.m. President roll call, Councilperson Ridley. Prinzari.
Here.
Bagiano. Yun. Solomon. Here. Robinson.
Absent.
Rivera. Here. Waterman.
Here.
And President.
Here.
Okay, take it away.
I'm Michael Lee. Just tell us which item you have. What else do we have? Do we have any special? That's it, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, my resolution is to 18454 Z10. All right. It is a resolution for a one-year agreement with US Abel Life Insurance. They are our insurer for non-management employees, along with police and fire. This will be the third year with them. It is a second-year option, and then next year we'll be going out to bid for a new contract.
Folks, any questions about that?
What is the payment of a person retired from the police department or fire department? That retired and passes away?
It's a group, so it's police, fire, and civilians that we pay for life insurance from JCIA. It's anywhere between $18,000 and change a month. And then the actives are a lot less. The actives are about $5,000 to $6,000 a month.
So what kind of brokerage commission we pay for?
Excuse me? What kind?
Brokerage commission?
None.
No,
No.
just strictly.
Right.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have, before we get to Regional Industries, who's here today, we have a number of folks who have just one item, so get them out of the way. We'll start with Brian and Bernadette. They have 10Z18.
What is this for?
This is authorizing a contract to WB Mason Company for the purchase, delivery, and installation of office furniture for the Department of Administration, Division of Information Technology through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey, formerly known as Middlesex Regional Education Services Commission.
Yes, so we're going to be moving our space into the area that is currently occupied by neighborhood improvement, which is in the front part of the building at the Municipal Services Complex. And this furniture is going to help us organize our space. It'll be able to create better team spaces for communication. Right now, our cubicles are kind of like little caves, so this will be a more open floor plan and allow us to have a workbench so we can repair computers, which is primarily what we need to do. We don't have any space like that right now in our current office area.
Any questions? Very good, thank you.
Also want to note that the original request was for around 40,000, and we went down to 28, so we're being fiscally responsible.
Very good.
Good point.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a great point.
Got your back.
Thank you. 10Z19, Melissa, and is Millennium here too? No.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Millennium Strategies contract for grant consulting. I believe Millennium is with us as well. Oh, not here, okay.
Oh, I left my thing downstairs with all. The list?
Yep.
Okay, good. I left it downstairs. Thank you.
So we are exercising, Melissa Kazakowicz, grants consultant, coordinator, sorry. We are hoping to exercise our option to extend Millennium Strategies contract. This will be the third of 5 years.
How many grants have you gotten us over the last 3 years?
So Millennium's been working for the city since 2014. Since 2014, they have helped bring in almost $15 million through 55 awards.
It was not at the agenda meeting, I gave it to you afterwards, and then we.
Oh, you did? Okay,
We talked about it.
okay.
We can email it around if you want.
You want to get me copies now? Yeah? You have a copy of it? I just print it out.
Make copies,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll get you copies of everything.
With regard to the services from Millennium,
Millennium.
also Millennium, sorry, are they also involved with the deliverables end of it once the grant has been awarded, or is that solely on the Department of?
Acquisition only.
Okay, okay.
So then let me ask this one. You bring up to like a $15 million grant to City of Jersey. Out of $15 million, how much actually City of Jersey use it? How much we're not able to use it because of grant term is expired? Do you have any data for that?
Great question. I don't have that offhand, but I could get back to you with it.
We know that. Actually, Brian Plefro well knows that we get the grant, but because of some grant that we're not able to use it. Second, what term is expires grant term. So even though you guys bring up the grants, and they approve something, state to federal, but because of we cities are not ready to use it, so we missed that grant to use it. So I'd like to know, out of $50 million, how much actually this Jersey City used that grant, okay?
Great question.
So-
I'll find out.
Yes, please, okay?
And also, I guess, related to that, and that was actually going to be the second part of my question, Michael. But I know sometimes too, some grant deliverables are very time intensive as well. So for the grants we're being awarded, like, is it possible to understand how much time a director or somebody in that department is, managing the deliverables portion of it, so we can ensure that we secure the full amount of funding?
I'm sorry, did you ask something?
So when it comes to the deliverables then, and making sure that we get and secure the full amount of funding by either meeting the grant deliverables or making sure we spend the money on time, is there a way to understand how intensive some of the deliverables are in advance of going for the grant?
Yes. Sometimes, as far as I've been here, every grant that we've applied for has had different kinds of deliverables. So we work with the department directors to determine whether the amount of the grant makes sense, given the amount of work that will be required for the reporting.
So these are all the grants that Millennium was involved with, although there are grants that Millennium is not directly
There are
involved with,
some, yeah.
but- which I assume are like UASC and things like that, right? So,
Do you work with Millennium on every grant, most of which you're involved in, or
80%.
80%? Okay.
okay.
Brian, don't we still in the city have somebody on the payroll that's doing grant writing, or we lose them all?
That's Melissa.
Melissa's our,
No, isn't there somebody else? No. Or is it with you, Craig?
Mine is strictly lost.
Who?
Lost, our neighbors.
Okay.
certain departments have people, I'm not sure.
People
Like
that have,
work on it, but-
grant writing liaisons in departments, not necessarily full-time grant writers.
So average you company bring up like around $3 million a year. Yeah.
More than
A little
that.
over for the
Yeah.
past 2 years.
Yeah, less than $3 million, not over. $14 million divided by 5 years, around $3 million a year, and your company charges 20, almost 10%.
It's not her company.
No.
She works for the city.
Oh, you work for city? Oh, God.
Millennium.
No, I don't.
The 2018 number is incomplete.
All right.
We're only-
2018 is as of April. 2014 was as of, it was only 6 months of the year, I think. It wasn't the full year.
So then, I like to say that when we took over office in the council 2013, one of the issues is that city of, you know very well, some grant we got, but we placed the wrong account, so we're not able to use it. Some grant is the time is expired, So because none of the department, actually utilize the grant. Those things happen, that, right? So I'd like to see some kind of report from you and total amount of how much you got, how much we able to, expedite the program. So it's really good to have actually record, what I'm saying. Doesn't matter how much they bring the money, but if we're not able to fully spend, not use the grant for benefit of the city of Jersey City.
Sure.
Okay, all right.
What division received the most grant? I'm just curious, because we're doing a budget here, I just want to know.
OEM.
Yes, OEM has their own internal, but we write primarily for Health and Human Services and Traffic and Engineering.
So OEM is a separate grant writer? Police is a separate grant writer? Public safety? Oh.
Yeah.
Then can we have some information how much the public safety side bring up the grant, Good to know. Okay, thank you.
All right, and then we'll take Director Kears with Z21.
Resolution ratifying an emergency contract to Tomahawk Defense LLC for active shooter training course for the Department of Public Safety, Office of Emergency Management, and Homeland Security.
Okay, this is the Mercy contract.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. I'm here tonight to speak on Resolution Z21. It's a ratifying emergency contract award to Tomahawk Defense for an active shooter training course for the Department of Public Safety, Office of Emergency Management, Homeland Security. It's funded through the FY17 Urban Area Security Initiative. The City of Jersey City Department of Public Safety, Division of Emergency Management, Homeland Security, and Police, in response to active shooter incidents occurring throughout the United States and around the world, the latest occurring on February 14, 2018 at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, resulting in 17 deaths and 17 injuries, needed to initiate an aggressive exercise training program for Jersey City first responders and members of the public and private sector. New Jersey City University requested the assistance of the city in developing a full-scale active shooter exercise in their School of Business located at 147 Harborside Financial Center, which is scheduled for June 1st, 2018. Tomahawk Strategies has provided the specialized training for members of the Jersey City Police Department Emergency Services Unit and has conducted previous active shooter exercises involving Jersey City first responders and members of the public and private sector. Tomahawk Strategies has submitted a proposal in the amount of $47,374.75 for providing the services, which will be funded through the UASI FY17 Active Shooter program. Based on current worldwide trends related to active shooting incidents, as well as time constraints related to this exercise, it was not practical to solicit formal bids. I respectfully request the proposal submitted by Tomahawk's Strategic Solutions relevant to this matter be approved.
We used to do a lot of the training ourselves down at Cable Point. We don't do any of it anymore?
Obviously, the facilities is the one issue, Councilman. Tomahawk did a pretty comprehensive evaluation of our current readiness for emergency services, and they have done active shooter training specific for emergency services. This is one of the first incidents that, and I think Chief McGill had mentioned this, we'll be exercising the task force concept, bringing firefighters and EMS into what they would classify as a warm zone to remove injured and unfortunately dead people. So it's, I think it's timely. We're working with the security down in Harborside. We'd like to engage a lot of the other private sector partners down there too, just so they see it firsthand. And I would like to encourage and invite any of the council members who'd like to come down and observe or participate. I think it's an eye-opening experience.
How do you guys sort of inform the public, or is there any public information to make sure that, people know?
What happens is, Councilman, one of the reasons, this takes approximately a month and a half to put the planning together. Part of the piece is obviously a public awareness campaign. Based on what we're dealing with down there, you know, it's pretty vibrant. It's very in the middle of the financial sector and everything else, plus transit and restaurants and all. Yes, to answer your question, we will put out a, prior notification as to what's occurring and why it's occurring.
Okay, thank you, Director Kears.
Thank you.
Barca? Barca has Z25.
Authorizing the award of a competitively bid contract to Street Plans Collaborative to provide professional planning services for the development of a bicycle master plan.
Okay.
Council members, this is a resolution awarding the bicycle master plan contract to Street Plans Collaborative. Back in January, the council authorized competitive contracting for this RFP. On January 30th, an RFP was released. March 1st, 8 proposals were received by the city. A selection committee was appointed by the BA, and the committee is making a recommendation for Street Plans, which was the firm that was ranked highest by the greatest number of members in the committee. I'd be happy to speak to the reasons why we chose Street Plans if council has any questions about that.
Questions about the selection?
How many companies participating in the bid?
8 firms.
8 firms.
We're gonna
Yes.
spend $236,000 on bicycle planning.
Yes.
What kind of?
Why don't we do some planning for our traffic division, the traffic in the streets, the cars? I mean, this is ridiculous, $236,000.
We spend millions on implementing it.
Yeah.
That's the secondary part, right?
Yeah, this is, and my 86-year-old grandma is gonna get a bike and ride around the city.
The council has previously adopted a complete streets policy, which says that the city is committing to increasing the percentage of pedestrian and bike mode share in the city, which has countless benefits across the board, health-wise, air quality-wise, traffic congestion-wise. It's been proven that the safer the streets are for bicyclists and the more efficient we make our network, the better it will be for traffic congestion for cars as well. So this is just a way to advance that goal that the city committed to years ago.
Meantime, the bike plan tried to do for citywide. Meantime, company who provide the bike system in Jersey City, City Bike, they continue to move the bike station from the certain area. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, as I understand it, when City Bike was invited into the city, the siting of the locations was done by a planning study that was done by Alta Planning Consultants, and they chose what would be the right locations for those stations. And I think City Bike has been working with the mayor's office, I'm not sure, in terms of removing and relocating stations, but in terms of this plan, we've written into the RFP that whatever team we choose has to make sure that we work with City Bike, with the locations, and make sure that whatever plan we put forward incorporates that bike share system within the plan. So we'll do whatever we can to involve City Bike, make sure that we're integrating both systems, but they are run privately.
Even though like a master plan come up, you gotta put in 20 different locations at the bike station, and maybe some bike station have enough riders, in them maybe now, but some areas of bike station, we put a station set up there, not for today, maybe next year. So now what we have to do, we gotta enforce the City Bike, put a certain location bike station, even their night ridership, they provide a certain amount of bicycle, certain area. We have to be some like obligation for that things. Other than that, they continue City Bike, move on a station based on their maximize their profit. In the meantime, they're supposed to profit share with Jersey City. We don't see any dollars or penny till almost 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Meantime, we give away street parking space to them. We provide so many actually public interest to give them free. In the meantime, we got nothing.
What we can do is make sure that the recommendations in this plan ensure all of that, and then we'll work with law department in parallel to make sure those things are enforced.
When is
Yeah.
the contract is expired?
It was
2020.
2015, I think we signed it, yeah,
Yeah.
so probably 2020.
So 20.
Yeah.
So we gotta make sure that if we spend the $34,000, build up the bike master plan citywide, and when this company locate a certain area bike station, then whoever come in 2020, 2022, the bike company should be obligated to set up the station those areas.
Sure.
Doesn't matter they get profit or not. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, our plan without supporting by the bike share program in that area is useless. Just want to make sure that, okay? Right,
Sure.
that's your rule.
Makes sense.
The law.
Got it. Write it down.
And did this fund come from the NJTPA or city?
This one's capital money. Professional services.
We should get the sum from the NJTPA grant, no?
So the reason we couldn't apply through the NJTPA planning studies is that we applied for the parking management plan, which we were granted, and they don't allow us to do 2 consecutive studies back to back. So we received grant funding for the parking management plan for this upcoming fiscal year. Yeah.
There's a,
Not to ride on sidewalks, not to go through red lights, wear a helmet, go to Palo Alto, California, where Stanford University is. The police actually give summonses there for all these violations. Here, you ride in these streets here, and you take your life in your hands.
so that's part of the program, is to
No,
try to make it
the
safer.
driver of a car
Oh, I
puts his
see.
life, takes his life in his hands, flying off the sidewalks. I can't believe we're spending $236,000 on this.
I think it's important to note that the parking management plan, it stands to be much more expensive, so it was. The
Parking management plan.
It's going to be very comprehensive, and it made more sense to go for the
It's all
grant.
part of the master plan. Incorporated, right?
So the bike master plan will be added as a section of the circulation element, and probably the same with the parking management plan.
So is this part of the money that was, when we passed the notes for the master plan, was this included as part of that, or?
No, this is separate capital dollars.
This is a recommendation in the circulation element that the city should, in the medium term, create a bike master plan.
What's the fund for?
This is professional services.
As an old capital account, 26.
It's capital.
It's old capital dollars.
Yeah.
But when you came up with the original quote for the master plan, was this part of that or not part of that? Okay.
No, but this is in the same, to your point, this is in the same vein as,
I'm trying to figure out if we're saving $236,000.
no, so if you think of it this way, this council previously approved some capital dollars for bikeway initiatives, and actually in my current pending capital request, there's even more in there. I decided it made more sense to take it out of professional services, since it's not physical construction occurring in the field, striping and signage and whatnot, bump outs, things of that nature. It made more sense to go through the professional services line item. Plus, it's coming out of the spending plan that I submitted to council for the old money, 14 and 16.
Does that include every bicycle, your study? So like, does it?
Every bike.
In this educational study that you guys are doing, does that include every bicycle throughout the city?
So we are going to do counts for bicycles. We're going to try to understand the users and also barriers to bicycling. And we're going to analyze crashes, and then, so it's gonna be comprehensive in the sense that it'll look at all types of facilities, any type of bike lanes on the streets, and all the people who are riding bikes.
So my biggest question to that is the bicycles that a lot of stores are using with the motorized part to it.
E-bikes, yeah.
The e-bike.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we will look into that. We'll look into dockless bike share stations, all of these new things that are coming up to make sure we're ahead of the curve, and we put in proper legislation to make sure we're not approving things that we don't want to see in the city.
I think it's also important to note that we have miles of incomplete
Right.
bike lanes that we should really look into connecting. I think this is the only way to go about that, so that we can build on it, and instead of keep throwing money at it and just putting it in wherever we could fit it, let's plan for it.
We've also missed out on a few grants over the past 2 years that I've been here because we don't have a bike master plan, so this will make us more eligible for infrastructure and implementation grants just by having this plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right to work every day.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. That's with the motor, right? I really like that.
John? Did you get her? Did you get Tanya? John, you're up. Right, you have an item? Oh, I thought it was you.
You want to do these guys first? Sure. Okay, and then we'll do, stick around. Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's 3G. 3G.
Thanks for taking me out of order. Joe Ragno from Waters, McPherson, McNeil. This application pertains to the property known as 110 First Street. I guess it's also known as the One. It's a 452-unit rental property which includes 10 affordable units. The nature of the application is to request your approval of a transfer by the 110 Urban Renewal entity to two newly formed urban renewal entities, which are all related by ownership. The purpose of the transfer would be to facilitate a restructuring in the ownership of that property so that they could take advantage of a 1031 like-kind exchange, which is a strategy for deferring the capital gains consequence of the sale of two properties in New York. As a consequence of the transfer, nothing about the 110 First Street financial agreement would change insofar as its terms or the way the property is managed, and a transfer fee of 2% of the annual service charge would be paid to the city, which we estimate to be about $32,000.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Tanya? She has 3D.
The council adopting amendments to the land development ordinance for Chapter 345, Article 5, to amend the R2 zone and to create the new zone R2D. I know there's a Star Wars fan going to add 2 at the end of that.
R2D could always will do that. So very long story short is that we've always been interested in kind of rezoning Palisade Avenue. Recently, a loophole was discovered, and there was a zoning board appeal, and the decision was that one of the uses in the R2 zone, which says along Palisade Ave, only retail sales of goods and services, Category 1 and 2 restaurants and uses on the ground floor with apartments above, was a permitted use with no standards. So that kind of kicked us into gear to put the new R2 together. We've been working on the R2 for about a year. This is the final product of a lot of meetings with the RNA and so forth. There's not too much that I would say that's very different from what's there now, except that we do permit up to 5 stories if you are over 50 feet wide. There is a density standard of 75 units an acre. And the parking requirement is a little bit tighter, as in a little bit more lenient than the R2 was. So for studios and ones, there's no, and then for 2 bedrooms, I think there's 1, and then I think that's it, right? Yes. 1 and 2, right, none required for studio, 0.5 for 1 and 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom, 1 space. Ground floor retail is required on lots that are over 50 feet wide, but not on lots under. So it kind of still gives you that Palisade Avenue back and forth pattern, rhythm. And that's really it.
Can I have a few questions?
Yep.
So this is belong to C and D. So now page 3, D, a bulk standard for the Alto Palisade Avenue. Maximum density is 75 units per acre.
Yeah.
That's 75 units an acre. Because they have people who live on Palisade Avenue, they have a dream to have that, want to have some neighbor commercial in Palisade Avenue. So in order to make a business to succeed, you know what I'm saying, to move in the Palisade Avenue, there's certain density required. When you say 75 units an acre, is it enough to back up the business, small business in that area? Or you are the professional person who knows better than me. To me, 75 units an acre, I don't know how much bring up the people, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to your honest opinion. One number is it should be reasonable to bring up the decent business and back up the business to make it survive. Give you any number, you know that you have experience. 75 units an acre is enough, or is it not enough? Or you shouldn't be having somebody more?
Zoning, which we're kind of mirroring this, there is no density standard. In this zone, however, it was previously zoned at 55 units an acre, which on a 25 by 100 lot is 3 units. We arrived at this number basically by negotiation, I'd say, with the RNA and the neighborhood and what everybody was comfortable with, because what they didn't want to encourage was buying up 2 or 3 lots to take down buildings that are there and then to be able to build up. So if you have 3 lots, you're only going to be able to do 12 units. On a 12-unit building in 5 stories is probably not efficient enough, and so you probably won't want to do that.
Give me some suggestion numbers.
Some of the approvals that we've already had, like at the zoning board, have been in the 90s and 100s. In the 90s and 100s.
90s and 100.
Yeah.
That's the way strong enough to back up the business in that area.
Those have been the zoning board approvals. The latest zoning board approval, I think, is 85 units an acre. That's the lowest we've had so far.
85. So compared with 85 and 75 is a big difference.
Yeah.
Because
This is just along Palisade, though, it's not.
I know that. So now, when I heard that from the RNA in those area, the community looking for, even they call themselves now Palisade Avenue, our main street. To order to be called the main neighbor commercial street, you got enough people have to live in that area, support the business, right? So if they just not talk about the dream, but the ordinance and the zoning right, we gotta back them up to make the daydream come true. You understand? So that's why I'm asking you. Most people attend the well educated, they well knows that, but they don't have experience like what you have. So your suggestion is around 85 to 95, those areas?
Yeah, only because that's what the zoning board has been bringing in. So that is kind of a metric that I would say is to the market. And those units that the zoning board has been bringing in aren't very big units. They're actually, strike that, they are big units. A lot of them are 2 bedrooms. Like I said, this was kind of a negotiated thing, and it's still an upzoning from what's there.
So if we change the 75 to 85 to make support to them, their dream to have a Palisade to main commercial zone, and you have a big issue you think they have instead of 75 to 85?
Only that the zoning wouldn't be able to go through quickly. Not saying that you're going to automatically approve it, but to me, that would kick it back to the planning board. I'm not the legal person here, but
discussion in this room, maybe I go back to them at the city council caucus meeting. Tanya actually, as a planning senior officer, not recommend, they bring up their own suggestion, maybe to have decent neighbor commercial to be a Palisade Avenue, recommend around 85. That's the decent, by experience, you know what I'm saying? So maybe I can speak with them, can we adjust the numbers, you know, because the people like to have something, but they don't want to see something else. So then never going to survive with this piece, you know. So we try to adjust the numbers. Another one, then I'm going to speak with them meantime. Another one, page 4, the heights. Maximum building height to 1 and 2, 5 Street 56 a large grade and 50 feet wide, provided that 5 Street is a setback 10 foot. 10 feet is reasonable?
Yeah.
That 10 feet is reasonable?
See it from the street, which is the intention.
I thought that 10 feet is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's, like I said, it's enough so you don't see that 5th story. I think there's a willingness to recognize that we need to go up to 5 stories in order to provide parking and to accommodate Palisade Avenue, but predominantly Palisade Avenue is a 4-story, 3-story block, and they don't want to lose that feel to it.
Okay, all right, understand.
This involves part of Ward C, a very small part. You used to keep on mentioning Riverview. Did you go to the, what's it, the Association, Sergeant B. Anthony's association with this?
I don't think that,
And I know nothing about this.
Mr. Kern Wiseman did a lot of outreach. I assume that he was speaking with them also. I'm pretty sure, I'd have to look at some emails, but I'm pretty sure he reached out to Sergeant Anthony.
See, that's what I'm saying. Palisade Avenue actually, you know, some group organization doing great job, but the Palisade, the long from the state highway all the way to the, you know, Patterson Creek, the long. So we cannot, we shouldn't be not goes by, you know, half of the peoples, but we gotta look at the respect to half of them. But let me ask this one.
This I think Sergeant Anthony's still within the R1. I'm
Yeah.
not sure this impacts them.
And the page 5, office space, page 5, E and E office, a minimum of one space for 1,000 square feet. Can you explain to me? And they exclude the first 5,000 square feet of ground floor. So,
We need you to explain.
yeah, can you explain to me?
Oh,
Yeah.
great, sorry. So the idea really is that we don't really require parking, we want to make this a walkable street. Right? So the first 5,000 square feet are exempt, and then the parking requirements kick in.
Okay. All right, so I have no question other than the density, you know, because we want to make sure that enough people live in that area to help the business to survive, you know what I'm saying?
I would only suggest one thing in that sense, is that the city's kind of vulnerable right this second. So if an application came in and applied for, 20 stories, let's say, they could get it essentially at the planning board because of this loophole. And there's always the option to go to the zoning board for density variance. I think primarily at this point, this is about kind of covering that gap.
Okay. By variance, they can change the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate, there's a lot of community input, a lot of meetings, and they've been driving this, so, yeah.
Council President? And the law department, can we make this one like a waiving 20 days period time?
Waiving 20 days?
Yeah. Can we do that? So next council meeting, we attach that as a resolution
Brian,
to waive that the 20 days, because there was some urgent issue in that area. Because
To like the urgency, oh, that's, you want to accelerate this?
we should be waived at 20 days. Okay? All right, can't you do that, right?
Ryan, you said they had a lot of meetings in the area. First I heard about it, so I don't know anything about it. That's number one.
Just have to articulate the,
Reason,
Yeah, this one. Okay.
why, you have to tell them.
Oh, this one? Why?
Yeah,
What's the justification? That's
Oh,
what we need.
that's a good question.
you don't have to do it now.
right.
Yeah,
do it
we
later.
later, we will send the email, just that I say here.
Make sure you copy us.
Yeah.
Tanya, is this your only thing? Is this the only thing you have here? All right, let me ask you this. Have they talked about putting anybody on the historic commission, with, what's her name, the girl, Maggie?
Maggie adding a third person?
Yeah. And the
Yeah, we
third
touched
person.
that was only a couple weeks ago.
All right, and Niece, she said she was going to get back to me on the 2060 plan. I haven't heard a word. We're going on 2 years now with this. talk about an emergency, or like he's saying, get something done before anything else happens in General Square.
It's written, it's still just in review. Nothing, I wish I could pull it out and do it quicker, but I think it's very, just needing a lot of legal review because of the circumstances surrounding it.
Okay. This will be quick. Pedestrian plaza. Quick one.
So this is the two the one ordinance?
Give us a number.
18050.
An ordinance amending Chapter 67, pedestrian malls, Article 1, Newark Avenue Pedestrian Mall, regulating the operation of rooftop bars and restaurants.
So the administration was receiving a number of complaints about some of the noise emanating from the rooftop establishments along the pedestrian plaza, and there are more to come, apparently. And so in order to attempt to address this issue, I was asked to amend the current ordinance to close rooftop bars and restaurants at 12 midnight, whereas right now they've been allowed to continue up until they typically close operations, which would be whenever the applicable liquor laws say that they have to cease service. So,
What's to prevent the building dissipating throughout the...
This is just the rooftop residential. Yeah.
Let's let the councilman for the ward, if you don't mind, Councilman.
Two questions. So the first one is on the addition to the rules of, patrons leaving after 1. Is that currently this policy citywide, or how does that, where does that come from?
So if you notice the ordinance references, this is a pedestrian mall, and there's a state statute governing the creation of pedestrian malls, and pedestrian malls are supposed to be guided by an operations plan, which is attached to this ordinance. And really, the ordinance is a framework to create the pedestrian mall, and the operational plan is to provide details of how it's supposed to be conducted. There is no law governing people coming and going bars after 1 o'clock anywhere else in the city. It's not really it's not an alcoholic beverage control regulation, but the unique nature of this particular location with so many bars concentrated in one place, the administration felt there needed to be a way of addressing people coming and going later in the wee small hours of the morning, I guess, these types of establishments. And so that this was what the administration thought would be a way of addressing this matter. This might end up not being sufficient. We may have to revisit it, but this is a work in progress, and we are still kind of figuring out how things are moving forward. And as new establishments open up and people get used to them connecting with other businesses and what happens when people leave at a certain hour, we have to address the changes to the operational plan as necessary.
If I may also, I think it would also have the effect, essentially, it's been used in other jurisdictions, other cities, of essentially staggering the departure time for people leaving the bar. Pardon me for using the term stagger and leaving a bar, but it would, because otherwise you would have last calling at everybody hitting the streets at the same time, which would create a lot of say, intoxication and people in one place, which can be problematic. Well, if someone leaves after 1 o'clock, then they are not allowed back in that bar. So, or they're not allowed back in any other location. So they can, they can loiter if they wish, or they can disperse to their homes.
Is that legal?
Well, it's an operational plan, and we asked the people who operate in this area have security guards, and we mandate this. So the security guards are going to be enforcing. It's not going to be the city enforcing it. They're going to be placing signs. We're right, but the operational plan mandates that these restaurants and bars have security guards manning the door, and so they're going to be handling the enforcement of this, not the police. Because obviously the police aren't going to be in the bar knowing that the person left. So the security guards will be guiding that effort. And then the operational plan requires that there be signs posted in a prominent position at all the entrances and exits so that people know once they're in there, once you leave, after 1 p.m. I'm sure there'll be a bit of a transition period as people get used to that, if they're regulars at this particular establishment. And we'll see how it goes, and if we need to adjust that, we certainly can.
But that only applies to pedestrian plaza.
Right, this only applies to pedestrian plaza.
If we wanted to expand it to an area larger than the pedestrian plaza, because there's also the issue of, you leave the pedestrian plaza bar and then you go to a bar a block away outside the pedestrian plaza. Is that something we could do?
Well, the reason this is doable is because we are requiring they have security guards at these types of, most bars and restaurants don't have that requirement, so I don't know who would be enforcing that, right? We wouldn't want to put Jersey City cops in, that's not really something they're capable of doing. I just don't think it's workable into that. Okay. And it's probably unnecessary because really there's a concentration here.
Sure.
Right.
We can talk more a little offline.
Yeah.
There are a few spots where people could, if this rule is well enforced, could migrate to, so you could be just pushing the problem, to O'Hara's or something like that. So we'll talk more. The other question I have is, obviously we're considering expanding the pedestrian plaza to Jersey Avenue. And one thing that I think would be helpful in those conversations is to be able to say to the community that we have proactively extended this new rule all the way up to Jersey Avenue. Is that something we can do in this ordinance as we pass it?
Well, this ordinance only governs a pedestrian plaza that exists.
Sure.
Right now, we have not expanded the pedestrian plaza. I know the administration has articulated desire to do that. It's my understanding that initially there'll be a trial period of seeing what the expanded pedestrian plaza is like. This would apply to it should it expand.
What we could say is that should it expand, the council will have to pass an ordinance to expand it, and that means this will automatically apply.
Right.
Okay, perfect. So as long as we can say that, then I think that will.
So now, can I ask a question? Yep. If you see that the page 1, I need a shot.
I suggest you check out the pedestrian plaza. You'll have plenty of options. But yeah.
My concern was I bring up the actually capital improvement budget hearing, because the city going to be allocated $1 million to extend the pedestrian plaza to improvement. When I see here, they say that the pedestrian mode improvement shall include but not limit to, and there's so many, and one of the items bothering me, underground radiant heating pipe and device. We're not going to spend the part of $1 million for that. Yeah. I'm just going to make sure.
It's not a requirement. It's up to including.
That was standard language pulled from the state
code,
but it's,
Plan whatsoever, use a part of the $1 million for that like that, right?
unless the council wants to. Underground heating for the pedestrian mall, to confirm, is that what you want?
Okay.
No, we're not planning to do that.
All right.
John, does that rule apply to the back door too, or just the front door?
Let me ask this question.
All doors, Councilman, all doors.
Already have security, correct?
Yes.
So now, why couldn't they keep it under control before we do this? I'm just curious, because I thought those establishments had to have security.
They have
Now
security.
you're cutting down their hours, so is that going to improve? Why didn't they keep it under control from the beginning?
This codifies tightening those hours. So, and there's no reason for them to change their rules if we don't have it in right. Yeah.
But their security only controls what's going on inside, right?
Yeah.
So once they come out after, so.
They can't come back in.
They can't come
That's
back
all
in.
this is telling them.
Yeah.
They just can't come back in.
And it shuts down the rooftops at midnight.
I just don't see what the security's doing. That's what I'm trying to see, because they already have it. It doesn't make a difference to me what hours if they can't control
I
it.
think Council
Well,
wants,
it
it's
just
more,
establishes a baseline for everyone, right? So that it's like a minimum wage. Like it's like when you're in competitive, if you're the rooftop who wants to stay open till 3 a.m. and then everybody keeps coming till 3 a.m. and knows they can hang out there, and you're the business owner who's more mindful of the community, and you shut down at midnight, but you see you're losing business because the other guy's still open till 3 a.m. Then you're tempted to keep it open. Yeah. Yeah, it requires them all not to have this level
So I
playing
don't know how
field.
you're gonna stagger it, because then everybody's gonna go out.
I mean,
Forget it.
Councilwoman, you may remain in the building until last call closing time, however long you want to stay. But if you leave the building for any reason, you're not permitted back in.
Security's gonna enforce this, because this is still gonna be a problem. I could just see it coming. It's just that you're just saying that at 11 o'clock, the rooftops have to close. Okay, so then,
So,
security is still there. So why security ain't doing what they supposed to do now, to control some of this now? Evidently, something is wrong, we have to come back to this.
I don't know that it was so much a security issue
Yeah,
with
that's what
rooftop
I'm
bars,
saying.
it's just that rooftop bars are going to be loud, and then so, right, so we're shutting that portion of the place down at midnight. They'll continue to operate within the enclosed portion of the bar until whatever the closing time is.
Can we print it then, concern about the, still they have a resident live there, sleep, die there. Can we print this like a sunset clause, try like a 6 months or 1 year, if doesn't work, that ordinance will automatically, so they can protect their neighbor.
You can always amend this at a later point, you don't have to sunset it. If 6 months later, the councilman representing the district finds that this isn't working out, we need to adjust it, that's always something you can do.
We've established a kind of ongoing conversation with the police captain, the local neighborhood association, and the SID, which represents the businesses, to just talk about how this spring and summer goes, because basically we're going to be an ongoing monitoring process to make sure that the police have promised better enforcement. We're passing this ordinance to actually see if we're doing a good job of balancing nightlife and neighborhood. So
Then if it's
we're gonna be on top of it.
Maybe he had it on the rooftop first. Oh, but I'm James, I'm worried about you now.
We're not adding a special council exemption for the midnight.
All right.
hours on the rooftop.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Folks, you okay?
Yeah, right now, right.
I think we're done, right? Thank you. We have a guest here from Regional Industries. And he's here with Director Stamato. Yes.
Council President, council members, I'd like to introduce Regional Industries. Their representatives are Joseph Roselli and Peter Roselli.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
It's not related to a resolution. The council had some questions and concerns regarding.
On a previous caucus meeting, I was asked to bring in the contractor. The council had brought up some issues that they wanted to discuss with both myself and the Regional Industries, and that's why they're here tonight.
Two major concerns. First major concern is we've continuously asked if the drivers of the waste management, if the garbage trucks do not park on Community Park and Kennedy Boulevard. It's like they don't care, whatever, we do whatever we want. So that happens every single night. I drive through the city in that area, and I'm telling you, it happens every single night. Number two is my concern, another concern that I have is that they are so messy after they pick up the garbage. It's like if the city remains dirty. After you pick up the garbage, there's still an enormous amount of residue from the garbage after the truck is gone. And the final thing, you need to tell them to stop going down one-way streets. If they back up, it's one thing, but they actually go down the one-way street to pick up trash. That happens continuously. So,
Going against traffic.
Yeah, going against traffic. But, one of the biggest pet peeves that I have is, they continue to block that traffic and the visual on Kennedy and Community Park, and I've asked, I think 4 times, and it's just like, you guys don't care.
Danny, you missed one other thing. Take the garbage can, the truck's in the middle of the street, they dump it, and they fling the garbage can back on the sidewalk.
Yes.
And let me tell you something.
They do.
One of these days, I'm gonna go out, it's a joke when they do that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I just want to echo the concerns and critiques of both of the councilmen. I cannot tell you how many numerous complaints I see through Secret Fix. I get sent to my office about trash being strewn across the street, recycling bottles smashed on the ground. We have to call inspectors in DPW to come up, inspect it, and then clean it. And so we're essentially paying twice for these services that your company is supposed to provide. I'm a new council person, I came in January, these were the first set of complaints I got, they were complaints that I have as a resident. With regard to going down one-ways, we have a number of one-way streets, dead ends that are off of Duncan, that are off of Communipaw, and it's dangerous for the residents, and it's dangerous for people going down those major arteries. And with regard to the trash bins being thrown all over the street, we have a neighbor on my street that knows whose trash bins belong to whom. He goes up and down the street and puts them upright. They're in front of my car when I leave in the morning, they're in the middle of the street when neighbors come. People have to replace their trash bins twice as much as they used to because of the wear and tear on the bottom. And it's reprehensible and unacceptable when we're paying you guys a very good contract for 5 years to have to go back and have our city services take care of this when they can be doing something else.
Denise Ridley.
I echo all those sentiments, but also there are a lot of times where garbage isn't collected. So I get a lot of phone calls from residents, especially in Country Village area, where their garbage hasn't been collected the next day, and then I have to contact DPW, and then they have to go out and get it on a non-garbage day. So there's also a lot of oversight of garbage that's on the street. I don't know why they pick certain houses to skip, but, you know, it happens at least every other garbage night. And where I get a phone call about it, at least.
I'd also like to add to that with the recycling, there are changes sometimes with the kind of bags people are supposed to use. This is never communicated out, so people recycling is out there for a couple days, or if it's a little bit of rain, not like a lot of rain, I can understand not wanting to pick up paper if it's in a bin, but we're talking sprinkles, and the whole street is littered with paper the next day because it wasn't picked up. And these are people that are tying it up, and yeah. People shouldn't have to call twice for services.
So now you heard the complaint A, B, C. I thought I'm the only one has a problem. When I heard that, I said, this is a problem of the citywide. And the number one, they collect the garbage, right? And they leave the garbage in the middle of the street. I said, come on. You know, I think there's something wrong somewhere. And the supervising issue in that your company, probably, you know, even though probably as your owners or CEO of the company, you never tell them to lousy job, probably. You guys tell them, provide them, you know, the best service, whatever you can. But it seems like what I showed to us that it's a supervising issue. So in other words, they're proud the people, it's like a wild, wild west. Whatever you done, we expect a check cut by city just every month. I think it's a time to stop somewhere. Either one, provide a good service or voluntarily revoke the contract to get out. Because already this issue ongoing almost 3 years, right? 3 years. And the last time you guys was here, 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, we brought the same concern issue. And till today, so almost 2 years later, nothing changed, nothing get done. I think now, as a CEO of the company, as a chairman of the board, whatever it is, tell us how you guys going to correct the problem. That's what we'd like to hear.
It's just a matter of respect as well, you know, respect the constituents of the city, you know, leaving, you know, the way things are left, it's disrespectful to them, you know, after their, you know, the fact that they are, you know, thinking they're getting a good service from your company, and it's disrespectful to this council that you continue to do that after we continue to tell you. It's unacceptable.
First things in the morning, we received a secret fix or phone call from Myops. The number one complaint is, oh, they're not pick up the garbage. They're not pick up the recycling. They're not pick up the garbage. That's the number one complaint in the morning. And the people, why they call? Because they're afraid to get ticket by Jersey City Sanitation Department. So they try to build up the case to council person knows that what's going on, you know. So please tell us what is your plan to correct that problem.
That's a good point, and I just want to interrupt too. Some constituents have gotten tickets.
Yes.
You know, and that, you know, personally, I think that your company should take that burden on of the tickets that the constituents have gotten, because they've gotten many, many tickets, and that to them is not fair.
So two things. One, tell us the plan, how we're going to correct the problem. Second, because we're not collecting garbage, the city of Jersey, DPW, make an extra trip to collect garbage. How you guys going to reimburse that our cost, which is a taxpayer? We don't pay double. You know what I'm saying? We pay you guys we don't have to pay taxpayer cover the expense of the DPW. So tell us two, one, how we gonna correct the problem? Second, how we gonna reimburse that our DPW trucks go up? Actually, he asked me this afternoon, need dump trucks, if we guys do a great job, we don't need to buy another 200,000 dump truck, but we have to buy because of that not allowed service. Service is not satisfy us, okay? Tell us two things.
All right, before they speak, I just want to add one thing. Just recently, and I would say within the last month or two, we've increased our supervisory people for our night inspectors, which we refer to. They're working in conjunction with regional industries. We're also, and when I say they're working in conjunction, they're working in conjunction with their supervisors, their foremen that are out there. So on that end, we've been working closely together. And then I'll let them explain what they've been doing on their end.
Thank you for that. Our city employee go out the night time to follow your truck is a cost to taxpayer. So I'm saying, how are you going to reimburse that things?
My first question. If I can just add my very specific, and I have one particular resident who repeatedly doesn't get her trash picked up and recycling. We've called it in so many times and tried to get action, and it just keeps getting missed. And it might happen for once or twice, and then it stops again, and then she's calling me again and crying practically about not getting her. She thinks there's like a conspiracy against her home, and that the city's out to get her somehow, as a result. So I'd love to deal with it.
About the resident, a setback or anything?
I can get you the address and every information.
please do.
You can take a look and see if there's something odd in the route.
If you add one more thing, how are you guys going to load their collection fee? I think how much we pay? $6 million a year now? 10? Already? 6 or 10. How much is it? How much we pay?
$9.2 million.
We pay $9.2 million a year, and that's the service we got. Okay, so tell us.
Speak.
All right, parking on
Communipol. We've had this problem. I thought it was corrected. Wasn't brought to my attention. Communipol and
I drive it every day and see it every day. They actually buy the gas station in the gas station and then across the street on Kennedy Boulevard.
So, obviously an easy fix.
That's not going to happen, okay? We have throwing cans, okay, the spillage. That is something that we constantly train our men on. We do get new men at times, but that's not, shouldn't be your problem, it should be our problem, that we have to train these people, and I respect that, and I got to be honest with you. We just don't have these problems in any other town. We pick up. Only because we pick up other large municipalities to small suburban towns, from City of Elizabeth to the Township of Union to smaller towns in Ocean County. No excuses either, but we just don't have the spillage problems there. We don't have the missed stops problems, the throwing of the can problems. But these are the issues that we will be training our men before they go out on the route tonight. And they're going to have to be trained even more frequently, obviously, at our cost, because there's a cost to that. And there's constant turnover. Right now, there is a huge problem finding people who want to work on the back of a garbage truck, and that's why there's a large turnover between the, first of all, not an easy job, 2, a dangerous job, 3, you have the Amazon facilities in Carteret and Newark, and you have FedEx and UPS that drivers would rather work with, and then the ground men would rather work at an Amazon facility, and with an incredible economy, they can afford to be choosy. But nevertheless, that's our job to train these people. We have a list of rules we hand out to them. We have work rules and safety procedures that they sign off that they've read, they've been trained, and they understand before they ever even work for us, before they get on a truck. They also learn how to run the tailgate assembly in the back of the truck, of course, for safety reasons. But I promise you, if you guys find this unacceptable, so do I, and so does our family. So does our business. So these will be constantly trained on.
And we have an open ear to it. We're not saying it doesn't happen. It's not gonna, it doesn't happen. I believe it does happen. I've been sent pictures that it does happen. The communal problem I thought was taken care of. Going down the one-way street situation, that's something that obviously just has to be trained and will be taken care of as soon as I go back to the shop after this tonight. We do have supervisors out there. We have as many as 4 an evening. We pick up to, with the new census that I saw, we have 135,000 housing units here in the city. We pick up 90,000 units a night, on average, 90,000. And there's no doubt we may get 10, 12 complaints a night. Obviously, we're not getting every complaint because you guys seem like each one of you have 10 or 12 an evening. But there are, we send out the recycling trucks, 2 sets for the commingled glass and aluminum, tin and plastic, and the others for the cardboard and newspaper. We send out the garbage recycling, the trash trucks. And so 90,000 units. On a percentage basis, it's very small. Again, no excuses for how you feel that you're getting bad service. And I welcome these. I welcome these lists of issues.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Peter Roselli.
Peter, I want my city to be in the same conversation as the cities you mentioned. You know, so when you say that, when you said all these other cities, is it the same crew for those other cities that are collecting the garbage in Jersey City?
Well, it's not night service, first of all, which is more challenging. Okay, you're working in the dark, and you're working with more cars parked on the city streets. So you're going around the cars, in between cars. It's a more challenging job. Not that I recommend going to the daytime, because the daytime, now you have so much traffic, it would be a mess. But it's much more challenging at night than in the day. Yes.
Listen, we're not knocking all the drivers. Go ahead. All right, so let's make sure you understand that. Secondly, you relate to Joe Roselli?
Not the Joe that works here in the city. My father happens to be named Joe Roselli. But not the same Joe, no, not the Joe that, from the, no.
10 complaints a night, it's actually much more than that, because one person will complain for the entire block, and we have very long blocks where there are over 25 homes, 30 homes on these blocks, and the trash goes all the way down the street. So it's not that it's just one complaint. This is the people we're hearing from. There are a lot of people that are just have given up complaining because they just feel like, well, nobody cares about our city. Jersey City's filthy, and they're not doing anything to help us make it. Like that's, I don't really like that it's just one, like 10 complaints. It's much more than that.
Well, I only can tell you what I hear that comes through my customer service department that I become aware of, or calls that I get from Renee or Crystal from Pat's office.
I think to that point, you know, what I would love to see is what is the best way to work with you in Public Works to communicate to, you know, what Councilman Prince Ari said, right? So when we do get that list of things, that we can say to you, okay, 4th Street, there was missed pickup. 8th Street, there's trash everywhere. And then I think the sort of follow-up that I would love to see is for you guys to be able to say, okay, this is who was doing that route that night. We've spoken to them. And then, you know, if that same problem comes up 1 week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, then there is we feel like there's a real process to improve the performance when we hear all these complaints, because I agree with the councilwoman, but I think a lot of people have just given up. I think a lot of people don't call to us because they're just like, it's dirty and it's messy and they're gonna miss it. And frankly, that's true for me. Like, I just can personally tell you that in the last, since I've become a council person, like my trash has been missed like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, okay, like, that's just how it is. That's what we think. Right?
Or you get started with your day and you get busy and like, you know, it's just.
We have supervisors.
Right.
All the way till 10, 11 o'clock.
Right.
Yes,
So
Councilman.
are there supervisors with them on the trucks at night?
I'm sorry?
Is there a supervisor on the truck with them?
No,
at night?
they drive in pickups on the route managers, and they follow the trucks.
Right now, we do have a system in place. Oh, I'm sorry.
Employees for a light, so they won't miss this? Because part of the problem is because you say it's dark, and I do see it, because they missed my garbage a couple of times.
Right.
Okay, but is there some type of device, because you're in this business, and we in technology, and I'm quite sure now they have different things coming out, to enhance the employee to see?
Well, we do have lights on the trucks. Okay, but that doesn't help when they're walking down the street. What we do have, which you're making me think that they're not using, is they have a light for their forehead, as the council knows.
They're not using it.
I didn't even know that was part of their equipment.
They're not using it.
So, tell us how we would correct the problem.
See, that's what they
Because
need to use.
you, what I just used is that say that, so we heard that a year and a half ago.
We do have a system in place, Councilman, to answer your question. We do have them accountable. They do come back with the information. Everything was recorded in our office. And again, what we're doing is working in conjunction with them according to the contract. We have night supervisors that are actually going in after they go through the route and basically coming in behind them. Now, there are times that we do call them back to have the material picked up when it's a situation where they've spilled a lot of material. So on our end, we're doing that, and I'll let him explain on his end, but he can tell you more about the relationship that we have as far as, holding them to the contract and basically having them perform according to the contract.
When we do get complaints, which we get primarily through Renee and Crystal in his office, it goes to our customer service department and they dispatch it. We recover by 11 o'clock. We have trucks in town 24/7. We have trucks that pick up the litter baskets 3 times a day. So if anything that was missed, and we have trucks that cannot pick up downtown till 6 o'clock. So they're down there at 6 till about 11. So before they leave town, either the litter basket truck or the downtown truck will grab any misses or late putouts. Believe it or not, that does happen, that we might get a complaint about. We make sure that gets done. So we're very responsive, and if there's a problem, we take care of it. Now, ideally, we don't want a problem, right? I know that. But that is between his office and our office working together. We get a complaint, and that's how we take care of it. Now, we also, if there's a complaint after 11 o'clock, we'll grab that with the truck that goes and gets the litter baskets in the middle of the day prior to the night route, because we don't want to wait till 10 o'clock at night before we get anything else that was out there after that. Because, like you said, it might not be someone's first priority. They might not make a phone call till the lunch break if something did happen.
So I have 2 questions. You spoke about the other towns that you operate in, and this is kind of what Councilman Rivera was stating. Like, do you feel like you guys may be overwhelmed with Jersey City? Because while you may do larger cities like, let's say, Elizabeth, there's no place like Jersey City, right? So Jersey City is the 2nd largest city in the state, soon to be the first, right? Soon to be first largest officially.
We're the largest.
The largest, right? Hudson County is the most densely populated county. So Elizabeth is a big town, but it's not the same as a big town like Jersey City. Like, it's totally different. We do have much more garbage, I'm sure of it. So do you feel like maybe they are a little overwhelmed? Because something else that you mentioned is that it's hard to find garbage people. And with it being hard to find garbage people, where are you guys located? Like Elizabeth. So they come, like your drivers meet in Elizabeth and they drive out here. Would you guys be willing to do some sort of job fair in Jersey City? There may be people who are willing to work. I'm pretty sure we have people who are willing to be garbage men.
First of all, we're never without employment, okay? Second of all, no, we're not overwhelmed. I mean, this is what we do. We've been in business for over 100 years. I ran this contract when the prior hauler had this, Waste Management. I was with them and ran this business with and for them. And it has grown. I mean, I believe the housing has grown over 40,000 units in the last 8 years. That's an overwhelming statistic, okay? But nothing that we don't have. I mean, we have a fleet of 139 vehicles. So we have the equipment, we have access to the manpower. It's a challenging job, but nothing that we cannot handle. And, we just have to train our employees a little bit better to meet the task. Because I could assure you, we're embarrassed that you people would have those kind of complaints about our service. We don't take it lightly, and it needs to be corrected. There's no doubt, and that's just not talk, because you can't hide in plain sight, So it has to be taken care of, and we're going to take care of it. If we have to put a half a dozen route managers out there, that's what we'll have to do to have more quality control out there. and roam the streets to make sure that the route managers are going down every street each night to make sure there's not spillage, even though there's brooms and shovels on every truck, and the men are supposed to do that, and to make sure that there's not misstops, and there are not the throwing of the cans.
Sure.
Do you have the biggest account for anybody? It's the biggest account.
Residents working with you?
Sure, yes, we do. Quite a few. But, of course, yeah. And we'd be open to any type of job fair that, or Jersey City employees that someone would want to promote, a CDL driver or a groundman.
You know, you ever go down by Charlotte, North Carolina, go to Concord, Cornelius, or Birkdale Village, they have a truck that comes around, one guy on the truck, but the garbage can, he has a hook on, the thing comes down from the back of the truck, picks up the garbage and dumps it. If a piece of paper falls on the ground, that guy gets out of the truck, walks around the back, and picks up that piece of paper.
How many people are on a truck? Is it 4 or 3? So one driving and then 2 on either side collecting? And then supposedly going with pan and broom afterwards?
If there's spillage.
If there's spillage.
Correct.
So,
Would it make sense then to have 4 people on a truck? No?
I don't think that's the answer. Plus, you can't have more than one man on each side of the back of the truck for safety and OSHA reasons.
But let's say there's 2 in the cab, and then one gets out if necessary to help with pan and broom behind. So they're not 2 on one side and 1 on the other.
At every moment stop, and quite frankly, 3 people on the back of the truck becomes cumbersome. We have the right count, we just need to make sure they're trained better.
Joe,
From what
can
I've been told.
can I say something?
Yes.
Okay. We'd like to hear from that your plan how we're going to correct the problem. And the way you explained to us, I heard that same story a year and a half ago, this room. And since that, we didn't see some kind of improvement. No, it's actually same things like 2 years ago. So now, today, another thing is when I see that they collect garbage, it seems like they're very rushed. So in other words, maybe you guys are not enough trucks out there. So because of that certain period of time, they have to be so much miles they have to collect the garbage. Maybe that's why they rush too much. Instead of collect the garbage, can dump the garbage. Instead of put on the sidewalk, they just dump it, you know what I'm saying? So when we look at it, you guys seems like too many corner cars. In other words, they're not putting enough number of the trucks in Jersey City. You know, so that we're going to look at them matters. And usually we get there from how many trucks they put out every day, regular garbage collection and the recycling.
Councilman, I don't want to interrupt. Let me explain. Every day they give me a count of how many trucks. Not only that, the one thing they don't like to do, no offense, but they do come to our yard to make sure the trucks are all empty before they go on our route. So we're always double checking. I think you made your point to them tonight, being on that side at one time and going in front of the council. The most important thing is they realize there are 9 other inspectors out there at given hours throughout the night, and that would be you council people. You see what's going on in your neighborhoods. You know what's going on.
Kind of like raise an eyebrow for me here. So when they come from Elizabeth, are your trucks empty or are they full of garbage?
Empty. Based on that.
They're empty, and they get inspected every time before they go on the route. We have to go to the DPW yard at our expense, even if it's on the west side of the route.
So then
and they make sure that they're empty.
We checked our scale.
We don't scale them, they're empty, there's nothing there's nothing in the truck, so they're empty, you're not gonna weigh them in. I mean, look, if it gets worse, I mean, if something was being found constantly and there was a problem, believe me, we do have a scale at DPW where we could scale the trucks. It hasn't gone to that point because what's happening now, because of the manpower, the additional manpower, we will have people at the different locations, the dump sites.
Why don't we do this way? You seems like has a quality control, have not many choice. Create more supervisor, more educate your employee, and then make sure the way Councilwoman Joyce Waterman mentioned to that some area in Jersey City has a lighting, street lighting system, not, you know, so maybe they ask them, make sure that they wear this safety purposes, where they headlight lamps or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And also, we see 2 months later, we invite them one more times, we can give our feedback to your company, instead we just spend the time to discuss with that, we'll see, you know?
The one thing I want to add is now they're usually, well, Peter's usually in touch with me, and if not every day, every other day. And there's certain areas that I hit at night before I come back, whatever the hours, when I come out of here at a caucus meeting or a council meeting, I usually, believe it or not, I hit the route. It's in my blood, and I'll usually report. And, you know, we're definitely keeping an eye on it.
The second thing I mentioned that, because you guys are not satisfied with the city of Jersey City, so DPW proud that they are our own trucks to collect whatever, I'm not gonna say that, I hate to say that, whatever you guys not collect, Master Street, our member, city employee do that, how are we gonna reimburse the city of Jersey that part of it? That's what I wanna know.
And you should not be, I understand you said you was embarrassed, you know, maybe there's just a communication gap between the supervisors and the workers. You guys are obviously telling the supervisors, you know, what we want.
Yeah, well, that has to do with continual training of even our supervisors, okay? But,
I think you guys are a stand-up, you know, organization. We just want, you know, we have to defend our constituents.
I respect that, and I understand that. It's just, to be honest with you, the amount of complaints that we are receiving, okay, are, quite frankly, a de minimis amount compared to the number of units that we're picking up each night.
I mean, we can send you
But with that said, with all due respect, I don't think I'm getting all these complaints, okay? You guys may, but I mean, that's why I'm thinking, you know, it's not as bad as you guys are telling me, to be honest with you, you know, because.
Okay, so back to this issue of reporting complaints, because now you have DPW doing work twice, council people doing work twice, or residents doing work twice. How do we ensure that you're receiving all of these complaints, and what's the mechanism? Do we have your email and something comes to us, we shoot it to you? Do you want a compilation of all of the reports that we get? Because I will gladly print you out every single complaint I receive.
Give us a phone number, 24/7.
We'll set something up.
Okay, because if this is the issue, and if you're not receiving all the complaints, then you guys should have them so you can correct the problem. That I understand, and that's fair. But if we don't know how to make sure you're getting all of them, then it's gonna sit, you know, on our voicemail.
The complaints are
in our
being
box.
reported, whether it's through C-Click Fix or calling our operations scenario. You know, I can't imagine them not all being reported.
Well, here's the thing, I think if we set up a process,
Yeah.
and the 9 of us publicize that process, I think we would see, you know.
Then I would say you go to C-Click Fix.
Let's go through, so let's talk about
Okay,
the
we'll
best
talk.
process.
We'll talk about
But I
it.
think the point is, sorry.
Oh, no, I mean, I see QuickFix is great, but I have seniors that are not gonna get out there on their clamshell flip phone and take a photo and then call their niece or nephew to say, can you help me report this?
I apologize on that, I forgot about that, you're right.
Thank you,
You got a good
yes.
point there.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this, Peter. So what is a 24/7 customer service phone number we can share with the people of Jersey City?
Everything goes through DPW. Everything goes through DPW.
We have to use our resource to their job.
Right now, what we have is our DPW is manned all night long, to be honest with you, because of the operations that we're running. And by keeping track, having reports go to DPW, we're keeping track on basically the number of complaints and the issues. Now, there's some issues that the resident, we have against the resident for not putting out the material properly, or mixing construction debris with recycling, and, you know, those issues. But everything gets reported for DPW. We have a log on every complaint that has come through DPW and C-Click Fix. Now, if they're not calling DPW and C-Click Fix, then yes, maybe we need to talk about some other way of communicating so that we can rectify this. But if there's a problem, DPW should be called immediately. We have complaints coming in. I could give you those numbers on a yes. We have the phones being manned. We even have a supervisor, not a supervisor, we have personnel at night that are basically, if they get a complaint at night, they're being right away forwarded over to one of the we refer to them as route supervisors or route inspectors on our end, and they go right to that location.
We all have commercial corridors in our ward, and they have separate garbage.
All commercial-
So how do you distinguish between what's regional and what's like a separate private pickup delivery?
Well, they've been working, believe it or not, they've been working closely with us because they know they're not supposed to be picking up any commercial locations in any way, shape, or form. If, for example, like, let's take downtown, for example. You have a high-rise that's going in, and they basically have a storage problem. They're entitled to 2 days a week collection. Anything more than that, because of the storage problem, then they would have to go to a private. Because you can't create, if they don't have the room to store the material for those 2 days, that's going to result into a major problem, especially when you're talking food. If it's a food establishment, they need to have a commercial.
Complaints come in, like, let's say there's somebody who lives on West Side Avenue, they live above Gusto Latino, and there's always an issue with trash. They call DPW to report it. I mean, do you?
What our enforcement department does, basically go to that location, and if there's a store below, they basically ask that store owner for a bill on their garbage pickup. I mean, that's basically what they have to produce. No. I just want to make one point. Not only for garbage pickup, for also recycling. We don't want their recycling. They basically have to hire a private contractor for both garbage pickup and recycling.
If there's a problem at night with, that their route managers may see, they do communicate to our route managers,
Right.
our lead foreman each night, so we're in constant communication. Any complaint, any system you guys want to put in place through the DPW, which they'll relay to us, which is in place already, okay, put a complaint form together with the address and what the problem is, and then it'll loop to us. I told you how we take care of it and the time frame that we take it. There are times where we've gotten complaints that we've been told that a block is down, and we get there, there's two bags at two homes that are still dry when it's drizzling out, okay? So there's quite a bit of late put-out problems that we have here in the city as well.
Could we just come to some type of agreement that they'll come back based
months
on our
later.
complaints,
Come back.
and we'll see how it improves?
Yes.
All right, because we are,
And
gotta
also,
look.
We can do this all night.
yes,
because
yeah.
you see, we're not happy, so
Two things
let's
which
see how
come
you
up,
could
yeah,
improve
yeah.
it. That's fair.
2 months later, we have a sit down
Right.
together. And second is that when you see that 2 months later, I like you guys come up plan how we can reimburse that service paid by Jersey City. You guys say we're gonna donate 100 garbage can Jersey City as a part of the reimbursement.
100 garbage.
Garbage can.
Garbage cans. See, he's looking for something for our inconvenience.
Yeah.
That's why. So they could think of what.
One last question. The commercial, because I get questions on this and I need to know. You're not saying that the commercial storefront is responsible for the garbage for the whole building, right? The regional should still be picking up the garbage for the tenants upstairs.
Regional should be picking up. I'll make myself perfectly clear. Regional should be picking up the residential side of that commercial building.
How do they distinguish? Because I think that's part of the problem.
What happens is, again, what we do, I mean, you could tell. First of all, our inspectors are there, number one. Number two, you really can tell. Second thing is, when we do go to that location, and our inspectors have been very thorough on that, where they have to show proof that they have garbage collection for a commercial company. I mean, you can't just say, oh, no, I get rid of it. Or what do you do with it? Oh, no, I bring it home. No, or I leave it out in the front. Who is your commercial carrier? And then at that point, we go back to the commercial carrier and say, not only are you picking up the garbage, but you're picking up the recycling. How come we haven't gotten, or how come we have not received any recycling reports for you? So we can submit that to the state. So, I mean, we have that pretty well covered. That's the easy part of it.
Okay, see you 2 months.
That dead horse.
Yes, thank you.
Beat the dead horse, how's that go?
Beat the, yes, something.
Do you want to finish up on this?
Yeah, you got more stuff, right?
Okay. I know you have some more things. I want to get David off the hook here.
Oh, you want me to wait?
Let me just get David Diaz in here, and he'll knock this out.
Fast, yeah.
Which is yours, David? SID budget.
Oops, sorry, I'm sorry.
Which one is it? Yeah, number? D.
D.
D is in David.
Good evening, members of the City Council. On behalf of the Central Avenue SID trustees and myself, I want to thank the city for our continuing partnership with our business community. This improvement district is the oldest in Jersey City. We celebrated our 25th year anniversary in 2017. Central Avenue stakeholders are very proud of the work and investment they've made through the SID program over the years, and we realize there's still a lot of work to be done as Jersey City continues to grow. If I may provide a brief background on Central Avenue's budget, in January, the SID elected Board of Trustees crafted a proposed budget. In February, a copy of this proposed budget was mailed to each of the 450 members of the Central Avenue SID with a letter inviting them to the annual meeting of the corporation. And the annual meeting took place on March 13th, where the general members of the SID voted to adopt the budget as presented. The budget is now being presented to the governing body for processing as per the advice of the District Management Corporation. CASA uses a collective decision-making process to craft our budget, and we believe addresses some of the core issues in our shopping district, particularly as it involves business development, capital improvements, and sanitation. I welcome any questions any members of the City Council may have about our budget. If not now, if not, do email before the hearing on Wednesday.
Let me ask you something. I don't see wages and salary.
We have
Because I
no
saw that
employees.
on- You don't have that?
We don't have any employees at our improvement district. All services are contracted out. Yes. What? Dynamic District Management. Been in business since 2006.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not,
Your sanitation is also
Yes, ma'am.
contracted out.
oh, actually, we're introducing the sanitation portion for the first time since 2013. We had an operation for about 20 years, which ended in 2013 with the changes of the UEZ. We lost the partnership that we had with the city of Jersey City. We don't have the ability to go back to the minimum level of what we need to provide a robust sanitation program. We still heavily rely to do that in partnership with the city, but we're putting in what we can. We actually raised our assessment this year to do something on a periodic basis to see if we could get the things that we're looking at both options now. This budget takes place July 1st. Actually working with DPW to address a lot of the issues now. Councilman Rivera has reached out to Pat. Hope a couple of things we hope to do in the next couple of weeks with painting our curbs, power washing the 43 litter receptacles in the district, hopefully adding 8 more litter receptacles to the district, taking down all the handbills down on public property, basically better management of the public spaces. I know DPW has not been able to do that consistently, but again, we're trying to work with the city to get those core things addressed. Like I said, it's just about public maintenance of the spaces that are there. The DPW does a good job now of having some guys in the morning and getting trash where there's these wind tunnels or wind pockets in the district, and that is very helpful. But there's still a lot more that needs to be done so Central Avenue's level of service or the level of cleanliness is acceptable to the community. We hear it all the time, and garbage and the look of Central Avenue really is a big issue for us.
See, actually, when I see the David Diaz and the Brian Platt, you guys belong to same class of people, try to use innovative idea. Under the David Diaz's leadership in the Central Avenue SID, their organization now raised SI tax almost 20 years. Because every time he's come up innovative idea to try save the SID tax dollars. You know, they're very good, almost, that's why like 2 years ago they raised SI tax now?
Yes.
Yes, because almost they freeze collection SI tax for 20 years. You know, every time, even though they get some kind of price quotation, they always, even though they lowest the price, they renegotiate the price. When I see him, it reminds me, that's the way they should work.
Well, Councilman, if I may just say that the credit really goes to the Board of Trustees. They're all elected. They govern the SID assessment, and they all break their behinds to make sure that every dollar is spent the right way. If they're investment into Jersey City, and they want to make sure that they capitalize on the money that's going into Jersey City.
And also it's a good thing, so Councilman Danny, you're now Board of Trustee in the SID, is a good opportunity to more council people understand how SID operating, So in the future, maybe, Brian, City of Jersey City, when we spend almost $600 million per year, at the least $500,000 we invest a small business community, which is SID in Jersey City. You know, because they are the people pay extra tax top of the property tax. City should be provide some kind of a partnership, not just gives all the financial burden to the organization or their members. I think with your leadership, I hope the city come up, about time to come up, bring back the partnership with SI, the city of Jersey City, and the financial funding. $500,000, no big deal, you know that, to give us them to improve that there are other items the city cannot provide.
If I may build on that, Councilman, something that we've had a conversation with the city for a long time. For example, on DPW, when they have their guys out there, we see that things are not being done as efficiently as possible. We have to go back to Pat and make suggestions instead of giving the direction directly to the guys that are out there in the field. So something sometimes is lost between what the people in the community are seeing, what services are needed, and going back to the guy that's out there working in the field and how to better do that efficiently. When we had that partnership with the city, it was very efficient that way. They gave the authority, or they gave the ability for the cities, or empowered us to be able to do that on our own, do it with the city. So it was much more practical, and we were much more efficient with doing that. As you said, I mean, the cost for doing that is, for Central Avenue, I mean, $100,000 for us, if there's every, right. Even if you fund each one at maybe $100,000 or whatever it is, eyeing an area that's common for taxpayers, such as sanitation, doing that in conjunction with the business community, what does it cost to the overall city budget? I mean, 1/10 to 1% of the overall close to $600 million budget the city has? Not even less than that. 1/10 to 1%. 1/10 to 1%.
Right, hopefully the government will.
Council President actually same page with us, and the Councilwoman Joyce Warren is the same page, and probably Danny is the same page. General Square and we have a B.
Well, we have McGinley Square, and then
When
we're
you
working
create,
on our West Side.
they could have the
Avenue.
same feel like what we have. So you got 7 votes already to funding for, you know. And probably E is the one exception because the financially historic downtown much stronger than any other. And what do they call? Exchange place, right?
Okay, we're off subject. Let's get back on this budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is just,
Folks, the councilman has the floor.
Go ahead.
Under the expenses, but also some of the business development that's handled by your organization, your management company. That's where your salary, as it were, would come in.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Where the budget describes the services that the city is providing to the district. Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I've asked every city to provide 3 pieces of information. If you could do that, would be great. The first is, can you break down the salaries? So how much any employee of the city is paid? Right, we don't
have employees.
Can you break down how much people are getting, as to Councilwoman's question? Right?
The contract?
Yes, if there's no direct salary, how much contract?
Okay.
So for any street team that you have, what their hourly wage is.
Right.
And then with the actual, with the actual, whatever your assessment rate is. So if it's a linear foot, whatever it is per linear foot.
Okay.
So if you could spread those 3 pieces, that'd be great. Okay.
Those 3 pieces.
Yeah, just email, great.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, David. Pat, Steve, you're back up. Let's knock it out. They've got,
many things.
they got 5 resolutions. Correct. Starting at 10Z14. Z14 is a
10C14 is a resolution. That's correct.
for the contract for collecting and selling recycling materials
Correct.
throughout Jersey City. Any questions about that? That's just authorizing competitive.
14.
All right, 10Z17, next item. Z17, it's authorizing the award of a contract to Universal Vending Management, LLC, to provide the city of Jersey City with vending machines.
I'll have Steve Miller present that.
Yes, this is the second year for the state contract. We have to do it every year. If you remember last year, we changed to a state contract because they're paying a higher percentage. And this is the company that has the state contract to go into the next year, basically.
Can I ask a single? When the city put out the bid for the vending machine, we only collect 17% of net sale.
Right, and we only had one bid.
Yes, and when we go to state contract, we get 32.6% net sale.
Yes.
So now my next question is that net sale, definition of net sale is the same thing as state contract and the bidding?
Yes.
They use the same definition of net sale.
Yes.
Then my next question is that because we changed the state contract, what is the actual income what we have?
It
Does our
fluctuates
income
month
increase
to month.
2 times more than it used to be?
No, because they're charging a higher price for the product. So it's definitely not 2 times. It's more than we got before, but their prices are higher. So if you
Hold
look
on
at
a
the
minute.
vending machines downstairs, you'll see the prices are
So
much
now,
higher than
hold-
when we had the bid.
Hold
It's
on.
healthier food. It's supposed to
No,
be
no,
more
no,
healthier
that's not
food.
the
Remember, we
Yeah,
did
it
that.
is, it is.
It's that too.
So now, let me ask you this one. State contract, they promised a 32.6%.
Yes,
Our bidding is 17%. So normal people, if definition net sale, if it's the same, then we expect our income supposed to double. Instead of the double, it's not that. So what is it? Because of the state contract vending machine price are higher than city bid, right? But now next question I'm going to ask you that most people use a vending machine city hall, who they are? City employee, correct?
Yeah.
Most of the case.
Mostly,
So in
yeah.
other
Some
words,
visitors, but
you
mostly
ask the
city
city
employees.
employee who want the chips and the cookie, we tell them you gotta pay more, so we have to pay more to the city. Just,
I mean, I could add to this and say, basically, our employees are eating more healthier, and they're letting not eating as many as far as the chips or the cookies.
but when we do that, when city contract the bid, we can tell them, put in the regulation, the register proposal, that, I mean, item must carry the health food, whatever, we can say that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, sure, we can regulate it, what kind of items they can
We
put in.
can't
or not.
regulate the prices on the items, that's
All
the
right.
problem.
No big deal.
The items we can
I think what he's
request.
talking about is regulating the product that is
Yes.
being sold.
Oh, we
Is that
can
what
do
it is,
that.
Councilman?
Yes.
We can ask for
Regulate the
different
product that
products,
is being
sure.
sold.
Sure.
So in other words, sell healthier items, so this way that
Oh,
will make
yeah,
up for that.
that we can do, and we've
There's
had
some
people
vending
request
machines that
certain
you
items.
can get an apple or, a banana or whatever, but we don't have that. Like, I'm forced to get a Snickers.
Maybe city side, we get more commission from the vending machine, but the other hand, city employee have to pay extra. You understand? So in other words, my friend Greg Carroll want to buy cookies. If he's a city vending machine, he pay $1 for cookie, but same cookie because of state contract is one, he gotta pay $1.50. It's a fair. It's not. I think it's not fair. So in other words, we gotta not only just incomes of what we gonna get from the vending machine, but the other hand, we gotta see that our city employee now should be sacrifice their wallet to give you more commission to the city of Jersey. But just up to you. But think about it, okay?
The next one I have, 10Z22. Right, contract amount is for $339,963.96. Last year, we spent $150,000 on that.
Z23, an open-end contract with City Electric Supply to provide electric supplies for the DPW Division of Buildings.
Hold on a minute.
Yes, sir.
Z22.
Yes, sir.
The fence company, because it's good to have this paper. The 2016, when you issue capital improvement, we, I think, allocate for the citywide fencing $425,000.
Correct.
And we still left $157,000, while you ask another $340,000. Because actually, under account, for the fence account, we have only $157,000. But now you ask $340,000
$40,000.
We didn't utilize that, and then we're back to the city. Now what we're asking for, cover ourselves with this upcoming year due to the fact that of the amount of fencing that's going to be required. We're basically saying, look, we're looking at 339. Our estimate is if this comes true, as far as some of the parks are concerned, with the new fencing, then we're looking to expend that. If we don't have to, and we could get by, then it'll come in less. We're just covering ourselves, Councilman. Yes.
Money doesn't have it. Because city-wide fence here, the 2016, we allocated $425,000 for city fence. And we spent most of them, and we got current balance is $157,000 in our account. Now, we're gonna prove the city council pass a resolution, $240,000, something we don't even have the money.
If we don't spend all of this, where it goes?
Yeah, but we have to renew the contract annually, and so that's what this is doing. It's not saying that we're adding more to the budget necessarily, this is just the contract that is for each year.
He's saying, how can you do a contract without having the money in the bank to cover it?
So you should be correct with these numbers. Instead of $340,000, we should say $157,000.
We need John, not George.
Yes.
Yeah, we need,
So-
John was here.
Is he here?
He's not here.
Yes,
The maximum amount is what the bid is on. So,
It's the unit pricing on the overall work, the material.
We're gonna check, it's gotta be somewhere. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, next item, 10Z23.
Electrical supplies.
Correct. From City Electric.
this is again a Jersey City vendor that we had before. It's renewing the bid for the following year, and it's the same situation, Councilman, as before. There's a maximum amount in the bid, and we use what we need during the year. So, last year for this contract, we spent about $38,000. The contract amount was bid for $39,854. And it's based on unit pricing as we go along and need electric supplies. 10Z24.
Get your fuel.
Gas, diesel fuel, 10Z24.
How do we do that this way? I'm wondering.
Okay, this is another renewal of the public bid. This is the first option year for the company that provides both gas and diesel fuel citywide. And it's a maximum bid again, and we spend what's needed for all of our vehicles through the year, and the price fluctuates almost every delivery, because the prices for gas and diesel go up and down frequently.
I mean, the price is decided by what? Market price? How do you decide?
Now, they're decided by the delivery date that they go pick up the fuel. It's set by the state.
Whatever they pick up the day from the place,
Right,
plus they put a certain
delivery
percentage
charge.
profit.
Plus delivery charge.
A delivery charge,
Delivery
basically,
charge.
is what we're being
But
charged.
then let me ask you this one. Last year, 2017, we spent the gasoline for 500 and the diesel for 350. We spent $850,000.
Yeah.
We know that this is open in the contract, but this year you put $1.4 million, almost $600,000 more than last year.
We supply the public schools too, they reimburse.
This is the same question. They bid on a maximum amount. That's why it's 1.4 million. Years ago, gas for this type of contract was over $3 a gallon. It might be that again if gas goes up and diesel goes up. Right now, it's up almost 50 cents more than it was last year. So it goes up and down frequently. That's why they bid the maximum amount, based on what we think the highest would be. Because if you do it the other way, we won't have enough money to pay for the gas and diesel fuel.
So you think, in other words, we have to be 75% more than what we spend to put in the budget? I think a 75%.
At the time we did the bid, that's what we based it on. It has two option years. This is the first one. After next year's option year, when we have to go out to bid again, if we see that we haven't spent anywhere near that for the 3 years,
We'll lower it.
we would lower the maximum. But before we did this contract, there was a maximum that was much higher, because gas, if you remember years ago, was almost $1 a gallon more. We also have more vehicles, so.
Besides the more vehicles, we're looking at the prices, and the prices are creeping up.
All right.
And that's the last one, right?
I believe so. Thank you, council members.
Okay.
Sink Navy.
No, that's not right. It's Go Navy, Sink Army.
All right, from the top.
Three A is a franchise ordinance granting permission to 28 Liberty Manor Development and LLC, its successors and assigns, to construct and install planters, fence, steps, and stoops approximately 125 feet in length and 9 and 21 feet in depth along the public right-of-way of Bright Street.
Any questions on 3A?
Yes.
Okay.
So 3A and 3B, could someone explain what's going on?
I can.
Did the fact sheet ever make it?
Yeah, I have the fact sheet. You got the fact sheet.
Oh, that's right.
These ones?
Yeah, I gave you the petition by the petitioner and the fact sheet on the back.
Okay.
Okay, there any representative from the place?
Anyone here representing 28? Please step forward, identify yourself. We did ask. What happens, council members, this, I believe, is I'll let the gentleman tell you, 31-unit residential building. Site plan approval required him to, the gentleman whose name is?
Robert Ricciardi. I'm a partner with 28 Bright Street, and we built a 31-unit residential building on Bright Street, and it's in a historic area, and the stoops need to, the site plan, the stoops need to go into the right-of-way to meet with the historic, and the planters are in between the stoops. We're very proud of this building. We went through historic. It's a beautiful building. Hopefully we'll have a ribbon cutting soon. We'd like to invite everyone. There's 8 affordable units in this building of 31 residential.
And city planning sent them here for this approval.
That is correct.
Okay, so then now, this is our concern. If you build up any building in Jersey City, that if they want to build the step and the stoop, they go from their property line, go inside. But this project actually, they want to take public sidewalk, almost 1,150 square feet.
So that the streetscape of the whole historic area looks the same. So that everyone has their stoops come out in the same way.
Yeah, I saw that they have Google Maps, so
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yes.
about. My concern is that if anybody build up the steps, they have a setback required, and they build their steps from the setback from the proper line. But this one, they build actually site plan, actually pack up their property line, instead of setback, instead of use a setback from the property, they use that to take over public street. Not 1 square feet, 1,150 square feet they're gonna take over. And we're gonna give to the authorization, franchise to you guys to use 20 years, $1 a year. And this 1,150 square feet, you guys not pay tax because of a public, property. In the meantime, you're able to maximize your site plan in your, a property inside it. So my question is that, my suggestion is that law department, I think it's not fair to most of the people building in Jersey City. If they want to build up the steps and the stoop, they should go behind the setback from the property line, not take over the public property line. So they get 20 years, $1 a year. Meantime, any small guy want to do that, the garage sale to use a sidewalk, they gotta pay the license fee so and so. So my issue is I'm going to concentrate that they should pay decent franchise fee for City of Jersey City.
They paid a $2,500 franchise fee. This ordinance was circulated to all the city departments, engineering, police, and fire. And this was the recommended plan by city planning to make sure that the street didn't have like a broken smile. It had, it
We
all,
understand. So broken smile can be created from the setback, not sidewalk.
If it wasn't historic, we would have had it where everything is right at the property line. You would enter in and do steps inside. That would not look like the historic, the rest of the block. So we followed with the Historic Commission and with planning. We went through almost a year of design and to work this out, but this is the look that planning and historic wanted. Otherwise, we would not build on the city property. We'd build the same amount of units, but we would. This is requested from planning. We would have built the steps inside and not build the same amount of building, but not have the look of the stoops. If and spend the money. These are brownstone. These are brownstone stoops. These are very expensive stoops, but the building is beautiful, and we are going to have 8 affordable units in an area that doesn't normally get affordable units. But I understand what you're saying, but this is strictly done for the historic area.
So in other words, planning board approves, no, this is just a minute. Planning board requested build up this way, so this city council not can be say anything about it, just say.
No, you're welcome to say whatever you want about it. I understand that. But this wasn't something that we had pushed for, that this is, we're trying to take over more property. We would have designed it differently if it wasn't in the historic area.
and less expensive.
Yeah, just to have it clear, are you, is everything you're saying, are you also 278 Grand Street, or is that totally separate? That's you. Okay, got it, just want to be clear.
Everything
Okay, cool.
applies the same.
Okay, fair enough, we'll stick with 28, I'll leave. So,
You want to go first?
have you, showed these plans, talked through this, I believe this would be in Van Voorst Park Neighborhood Association?
Yes.
Okay, so they're familiar with this?
They're actually familiar, and the association actually came out in favor of our project.
Okay.
And then they come out in favor of this particular franchise ordinance,
Yeah.
as opposed to.
I don't know.
I know they favor your project.
They favor the project with the stoops. I don't know that they would have seen the ordinance.
Do you have any, other than the architectural drawings, do you have any kind of visuals or mock-ups or anything, what it's gonna look like? Sorry, it's there already?
It's there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they've done an amazing job.
Take some pictures.
Okay, so it's already built?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's done.
Fair enough. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So,
In fact, we could not come before you until we had an as-built showing exactly the dimension of the stoops. So I'm not sure if there's a chicken and egg thing happening here.
fair enough, okay. I assume it's all kosher, but, if you can just email me, and I can then email the development committee at the neighborhood association, and just as long as they say, hey, we love it, it's great, then I'm fine. But as long as we just do that, that's good for me.
So, Peter, another way we can bring some fairness, the franchise fee. This is a formula which we use that the people use take over public sidewalk. They say the 20, what do they call? This is, what is the address? Beach Street, was it? No.
Right.
Bright Street, right. Then we should do that like some kind of land assessment divided by total square feet times, this case 1150 square feet times tax rate. So in other words, now it's 1.62 per 100. They tell you exactly how much they should pay franchise fee. We should find out some formula to pay a certain franchise fee, not just $1 a year, 20 years. In other words, we should find out some kind of a fair revenue resource, not only just depend on property tax or license fee. Every item the city of Jersey get, the people get the license, they have to pay fee, except the franchise fee, agreement fee, only $1 a year. I think that's not fair. So like
Pay $2,500 for the application.
$2,500 application fee. It's not a franchise fee. I'm gonna make it clear for the record, $2,500 application fee, not franchise fee. So I'm talking about franchise fee, not application fee. So we should come up with some kind of formula to be fair to everybody. You understand?
Sure, I'll work with
Yes, please. Thank you.
you. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Do I wish you in second?
We have almost the exact same thing practically?
Yeah, sort of, on Grand Street. Stephen Joseph.
A franchise ordinance granting permission to Larry Lee and Lee Wang, their successors in the signs, to make private improvements in the Bright Street right-of-way adjacent to property located at 278 Grand Street.
See, this one too.
Wait, let the gentleman identify himself first before you hit him.
Stephen Joseph of the Cherami Law Firm. So it's the same exact thing as the last application. I do have a survey with me if you guys want to take a look at that. It shows where it is. It's because of the historical constraints of the neighborhood. This was approved by planning over a year ago, last April, and it's the same situation. I wasn't involved in the. It was recommended by planning. Required by planning.
Required is more than.
So I think in part, Councilman, if I may.
Yeah, so this one I understand. Because the next to the neighbor, the land, that's where they come up, so I understand this case. But the other case was different than this one.
Currently 20 feet of sidewalk there, and we're required.
701 square feet?
There's 20 feet of public right-of-way there, and we're using 9 of it for a patio and a stoop inside of a gate.
Same question, is yours built already?
I'm not sure. I believe it is. I wasn't involved in the planning or the construction part of this.
Okay.
I can provide anything.
Same thing is, if you have any pictures, that'd be great, and then email me so I can work with the neighborhood association and just make sure they're okay with what's happened. And then, from my perspective, it's fine.
This is also Van Horst?
Yeah.
This is Dolma, right? That place?
Next to Dole.
Next to Dolma? Okay. No other questions?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you brought some food, we might have. Actually, before we move on, I just wanted to, we have Greg here, and they were here just to take questions on the second reading ordinance.
If there are any.
If there are.
I guess otherwise we're silent.
We should make sure Michael's here, because I'm sure he will have questions, but I guess.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's wait for Michael, sorry, because I'm gonna ask.
That's fine.
He's gonna ask the same thing.
Okay, let's go on with 3C.
Thank you, Councilman Solomon.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
3C, amending the code to create a classified position for principal fiscal analyst. We did D, E.
Hold on one quick second. Do you know where's principal's fiscal analyst gonna sit, or do we have a?
This is for somebody whose title needs to change based on requirements of the role that he's doing in DPW.
Okay,
Yeah. It's
Danny?
Yeah, it's Danny. Yeah.
Danny, best fiscal officer in the city.
Yeah, he's great. It's just the title needs a different.
great. Alrighty.
Get an A if you can spell his name now.
Danny,
Yeah, Salandra Baina, try that. E is an ordinance creating parking for the disabled at 52 Broadway, 196 North, 197 Orient Avenue, 290 SIP, 127 Broome Street, 810 Wegman, and amending the reserved parking space at 156 Bayview, 11 Cater, 61 Claremont, and 327 Lembeck Avenue, and repealing reserved parking space at 190 North Street, 196 Orient Avenue, and 68 Wegman Parkway. F is an ordinance authorizing the leasing of office space and city-owned property at 289 Academy Street, also known as the Apple Tree House, to the Jersey City Economic Development Corporation.
Any questions about that?
Yeah, just, why are we doing it for $1?
It's a city office. The money for that would come out of some city budget anyway.
But it leads to the Economic Development Corporation, which is separate, right?
Technically, it's like a separate agency. Yeah.
Okay. Is there, and I don't know their budget very well, but just like, for example, right, DMUA is paying us $7.5 million for land. So like, there are times where we do charge other agencies for things.
This is supposed to be used for historical reasons.
They have a very small budget, not a lot of.
They have no
recurring
revenues, no.
income. Yeah, like they make very little money, so but they do provide services.
That's the Office of Small Business,
Small business.
Vanessa
Yeah,
Cano,
yeah.
and
It's 2 employees right now.
we focus on tourism.
Vanessa and Florence. Christine resigned.
Right, and then, where are they currently?
30
Montgomery.
Okay, so they'll move out of 30 Montgomery.
Moving out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, this one, 3F.
Yeah.
I mentioned them, we talked to 3F, right?
Yeah.
Ryan, business administrator, you should be aware that. I waited for this ordinance a very long time. If you see the whereas the second paragraph, the Jersey City Economic Development Corporation, which is the Jersey City EDC, is a private non-profit corporation. So EDC is not agency of Jersey City. City of Jersey is sole client to EDC, the private company, but there's a non-profit. You understand? We are the only one client to EDC. So now, they're private company, private sectors, but we give the free land to them.
Free lease.
Free lease. And then not 1 year, 2 years. How many years? 10 years? And dollar a year, 10 years? It's a special big favor. We can find this city of Jersey can be changed, those kind of economic related business give to some other company too if we want to. Tomorrow, if anybody's knocking the door, mayor's office, your door, we got great plan to improve Jersey economic. We like to be part of a, not as a private company, provide a consulting or any service to the city of Jersey City, so and so, then we should go with them. Now EDC, we give 10 years lease, even though we now work with them next day or tomorrow or year later, we gotta still provide 10 years Apple Tree House.
They only work with us.
That's what I'm saying. We are the only one, not work for us, because we are the only one client for that private non-profit corporation. So in other words, if any other private company, non-profit organization come to Jersey City with a better relationship, better knowledge, better skills they have, bring up the more business, bring up to Jersey City, then we should go with them. That's why this company, EDC, the company, we should renew the contract every year or every 2 years. We never do that. It's wrong. Are you satisfied with their service to the city of Jersey City for economic development program plans? If yes, yes. But city council, we never prove that the contract with them. How the hell we give them contract 10 years, $1 a year, without prove the city council for the contract with them?
So we've never had a contract.
Never had a contract.
But we've never had to pay for any of their services. We supply some funding for their stuff.
Stop
So
it.
okay.
That's a big problem.
Okay.
I'm going to correct that problem.
Okay.
Because years ago, Jersey City EDC, I want you council members aware that Jersey City EDC managed that UEG grant. Instead of City of Jersey managing UEG grant, EDC is actually not agency, private company. Based on contract, they manage the UEG grant. After state to finish the UEG grant, close the UEG grant, they have some money was there called second generation fund. This city of Jersey City actually, when they give to them, never by resolution, by ordinance, we never get authorization to them manage the second generation UEG fund, period. I never see that. But they somehow, without any city council, they use their fund, they manage their fund. That's a totally wrong, again. EDC did a great job. I'm not knocking down EDC. They do their best. But at least by documentation-wise, we should have some kind of contract, legal contract, service contract. Every 2 years, every 3 years. If 2 or 3 years later, if we're not satisfied with their service, then we revoke the contract or cancel the contract, we can find any other company as a vendors to serve their service. Why we have to tie up ourselves? Why we have to guarantee them use the 10 years, $1 a year? That's wrong.
Maybe there's something the law department can look into, because...
Yes, please.
Because you have a mayor, the board is comprised of a mayoral appointees.
Yeah.
The council president's on the board.
Yep.
There's
I'm
a-
on the board.
There's a designee from, Mira is the alternate on the board for the council, so, I mean, it's very incestuous, so I don't know that there's
So what
a...
I'm saying is that we try to make sure that we have to use to make sure that where we stand, and even though they manage our second generation UEG fund, we don't even know how they spend, where they spend till today. That's wrong. As your leadership, I want you to crack with the law
We're gonna look
department.
into it.
We make a contract with them, like a 2 years, 3 years contract. Based on contract, they're able to use that their apple tree house 2, 3 years. Don't give the 10 years. That's too much favor. You know what I'm saying? Why do we close our door to find a better vendors or company to provide service economic improvement plan?
Sure,
All right?
sure, we'll look into it.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Before we move on with the rest of the agenda, we have representatives here on behalf of the...
First reading ordinances, so.
Yeah, we have representatives here for the City Hall Annex, which is item
Yes, we have that.
for, what is it?
Did you finish the rest?
Yeah, we finished first readings. Let me just mention that we're having the public hearing on the historic downtown SID assessment roll and budget. We're the second readings, Council President.
Your city hall annex building.
For ice, and what else? Is there another one for them?
I think that was it.
What else do you guys have? 4G. 4G and 4I are related to, well, they're really here for 4G. So if there, we went through this at the last caucus, but if there are questions, Greg Corrado, as well as the entire team that's been involved with this, is here.
I'd like to talk with the brand wine representative here.
Members of the council, just a heads up, there was a red line release that I provided for you. It's in color, so it should be obvious what has been changed. It was on all of your desks. I hope I handed it directly to some of you. Some of you may have come in a little later. But it's in red. All the changes are made from the prior lease with the agreement of Brandywine. None of those represent a substantial change from the prior ordinance reading, so it shouldn't affect the ability to vote on it on Wednesday. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. There are very few changes, but all the ones that are in there are in red.
Good evening. Just identify yourself for the record.
Moore Brandywine.
Last name?
Moore, M-O-O-R-E. Thank you.
Nate, thank you, great job, actually. Nate clear for that contract, many part of that. So I'm satisfied, but certain things are still, I believe that the safeguard built for the, taxpayer seems like not enough. That's why I'm going to ask a few questions. When you guys borrow money from the bank or any finance institute, you're borrowing the finance is an adjustable mortgage or fixed mortgage? Interest.
It's fixed when we actually borrow it and close on the loan.
Okay, so like 25 years fixed. That's what it is?
Yeah, roughly, yes.
What do you mean roughly?
Well, it's fixed because they actually make it 27 years, but you're only paying for 25 years.
So you borrow money, the fixed interest.
Correct.
So that you say 4.75%.
Correct.
If his interest go up, we pay more. If it's go down, we pay less.
Correct.
Great. So now, we understand that part of it. So, and they make it clear for that. Another one, page 10. F, you actually attach a documentation outside the rent schedule. First year, second year, so 20-some years, how much we pay so and so. The general public believe that that's the actually rent we supposed to be paid. But if we base on page 10 by F, it's not. Our rent can be much, much higher than what you provide the paper. Okay, so now,
That's telling you why.
you gave us a rent based on, this is, we have the dance?
No, we have to go home, so let's go.
Okay. Oh, no, this is very important. We talked about the $1 million, so I have to make clear. The parties here to agree to understand that basic rent is in base upon 2006 assessed value. Now, my next question, because you give so schedule of the rent payment based on this word, basic rent is based on 2016 assessed value. We, even this council, didn't know that City of was a plan to 2016 plan to build the City Hall Annex second phase. We don't even know that. So my suggestion is that we're gonna pay basic rent, which is attached to B, is based on 2018 assessed value. It's more right to us.
Okay, we just haven't received that, but that's fine.
That's fine?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like it. It's very good.
As I understand it, 4F, what it calls for, it basically says the basic rent schedule that's been shared with the council is based on a 2016 appraisal.
Assessed value.
Assessed
That's
value.
it.
4F calls for an appraiser to come and reappraise afterward, in which case, assuming they say the value is higher, that the basic rent schedule would be changed, or the city could.
Right, that's it.
Correct.
That's what they mean.
Right.
So what you Michael's suggesting is a 2018 appraised value, but I guess my concern is if 2018 might increase the basic rent and, or whenever this occurs, it increases the basic rent. And I guess my potential vote in favor of this project is based on the argument that, you know, this is saving the city money. And so I'm concerned about voting for anything that potentially has a price increase built into it, but we don't know the actual amount of the price increase. So that's my concern.
I can pick a number, because we're not talking about a big increase here. We're not, obviously, a couple $100,000 is a lot of money, but that's the scope we're talking about. So if we want to limit it to a couple $100,000 over the 2016, I'm fine with that. We limit that.
Basic rent based on 2018 assessed value, correct?
Correct. That's fine.
So we're gonna correct, right? 2018 assessed value. So we don't have to worry about excess value to pay
Okay.
extra.
That's fine. We can do
Extra
that.
rent.
We'll do that. Let's just,
That's exactly it, and to add, so why the appraisal? The city wants to do due diligence to see what an appraisal would say. So Brandywine is willing to agree to the 2018 assessment. If the appraisal is higher, they will still take the 2018.
right. I'll still take it, yeah.
Yeah. So now,
Just
the
since-
appraisal comes from the city. That's our number. So we put that number on the property from the reappraisal company.
Yeah.
So we're only going to a third party to get an appraisal so that we even have extra information.
I'm fine with agreeing to what we just said, though, to move along. I'm trying to be
I
solution-oriented.
want to be clear that that's why we also wanted appraisal.
See, that word can be saved hundreds of $1,000 taxpayer dollar over the 25 years. So thank you for that, understand the value. And another one, page 16, Article 9, maintenance and repair. We understand, we support everything what you say, but except that today we see council had a meeting that we talk about capital improvement budget hearing here. Number one concern is that a lot of city project buildings have a structure problem. we gotta spend $500,000 here, $500,000 there. So you're the company, very dependable, and has a brand-wise name, we understand, but you're not the one put the concrete pour here and there, not build up the foundation of the footings. So I like to make sure that worse intellectual about footing, worse it's okay, but at least a footing, foundation, structure component of the lease promise, you should have responsibility. Because we not the one, you not print that good quality cement to print the footing or foundation. So 2 years later, if our foundation cracks so-and-so, it's not fair to us, pay $85 million, $80 million over the 25 years. So at least you should be warranty the city of Jersey, at least, we're not asking for a whole lot, 10 years, at least 3 years, your company should be responsible for footings, foundation, and the structure. When I build a house, I ask the same things again to my contractor. That's the common area. If we accept this one, we got not much concern, you know what I'm saying? But this one is a big ticket item to people of Jersey City. So we gotta make sure this city council build up the safeguard, because you guys do great job to phase one. I'm gonna give you great credit myself with a lot of things to disagree and a lot of things to agree. But if we print this one, at least Brandywine is a good brand name, Brandywine, well, responsible that their job, footing, foundation, wall, structure wall, I think is right, at least 3 years of guarantee. Then we all feel comfortable, you know, for second phase, we, you know, build so-and-so. But other than that, we don't know what kind of phase we, because why? Phase one just finished. 2 years later can have a major problem. Then when we bring up the issue to your table, you do the lousy job too late, because we signed the contract. You know, if you come to us 3 years later, talk about the second phase, totally different ball game. You understand? Because
But you guarantee 3 years.
We're in agreement to do what is standard in the industry. And there's nobody in the country guarantees footings. Let me explain how the process works. So we hire a contractor to put the footings, et cetera, in, right? There's a company, a third-party company that comes out and inspects the material to make sure it's the right material to make the footings and do the compaction and whatnot. And then once they're put in, they're inspected. A third party inspects it, and then the city inspects it. So that's how the process works. Once we do.
Issue
Yes,
with the senior center.
We
You know how it sinks in?
Yeah.
We're responsible now for that foundation, so.
You know what I'm
the
saying?
concern is-
Councilman, I can't speak to what
Right,
other
right.
people built. I can speak to all the projects that we've built, and we haven't had problems with this. But I don't know what was done on the other projects. I just know we follow what's industry standard, and we get a third party to oversee our people. That's what we do as an extra step. I do that on all our projects because this is an important issue, because my reputation would be bad if something happened like that, so.
But the country you bring up, we don't know them. So city of Jersey.
Yeah, but I do.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But
So if
no.
you trust.
Yes, but your company, if they third-party contractor do something wrong, your company able to go after them.
Correct.
But we cannot go after third-party contractors.
Of course you can.
So now, if we.
You
just say, if we can. Instead we do that job, those kind of job, we want you to do those job, because we pay for that to your company. So your company must provide at least footing, foundation, structure, some kind of responsible, because other than that, we got no way to know that you really good oversight the job, number one. Number two, you mentioned city engineer, but city engineer to check that the strength of concrete is so-and-so, we doesn't have those kind of lab to check.
We do that, but I'm just saying there's another step where the city does come out and inspect what we're doing.
Yes, if you do that, then we have to rely on to your company. So your company should be not hesitate to do guarantee the structure founding, all those things.
One of the issues, Councilman, once we turn the building over to you, we're not in control of what you're doing in the building. So we can't have this clause, because you could be doing something to cause a problem with the footings or foundations. We turn the building over. It's inspected, it's approved per industry standards, plus we get a third party to oversee us.
Thank you very much. You
So-
said the contract, if any things we do more than $150,000 without your company approval, we cannot do that. Even though less than $150,000, but anything we do, we got the pre-approved from your company. So your company tell us that what you're doing, plan to doing is can damage the footing, can damage the foundation, can damage the structure, then you are free from the responsible that issue. But if we don't do nothing, we just use that the space what you build, then you should be responsible.
I don't know what you're doing in there every day. Again, as an agreement, we are agreeing to do what's industry standard across the country, and that's what we're agreeing to do.
When you build a house, a small house, a two-family house, the contractor have to be guaranteed the foundation so many years.
No, it doesn't. This is not typical practice anywhere in the country.
No one does that, even on a one-family house.
Thank you very much. Nobody do it, fine.
They don't.
It's not typical, yes.
It's fine, but we like to do.
I'm building
Okay.
houses right
How
now,
that sounds,
they don't do
good?
that. They don't do it.
Because why? We heard that today's capital improved the hearing, right? How many structural problem we had? We gotta spend hundreds of millions, $500,000 here and there. We don't want those kind to repeat again. So I want you to, because your company is one of the best company in the United States, so I'm pretty sure you guys have provided 100% the good performance of the build, no question about it. If you're proud of your job that much, then you should not hesitate, afraid to guarantee foundation, footings, structure.
Who's the, on our side? Who's responsible for this on our side?
Someone out of the building department comes in, inspects what we did, yeah. Yes, correct.
Do we know who that is? Can we get an opinion from someone? I would like an opinion from
Sure.
someone.
Part of the problem, for example, with the Collier Center is that they built a bill, essentially, so there was no, nobody looked into the soil, nobody gave any soil samples, nobody needed to see if it needed to have piles or anything like that. So maybe the answer to this, instead of getting the guarantee, is to just get a report back from any findings before the building goes up, so we know that it's built on the appropriate materials are being used for the appropriate build.
Thank you, Councilman. I would love to provide that. We already done the testing, the geotech testing, and we review that also with Joe Cunha from the city on the historic fill issue, because he has to approve any of the historic fill that gets replaced. We did that on the annex, and we'd happy to do that again. Yeah, thank you.
So that I'm not happy with that. But the way you say, your company is a proud of job, then they should be not hesitate or afraid to warranty that your job, what you provide. If you so much provide your job, you know what I'm saying?
I heard what you said.
Yeah, so please. Another one is that, the page 19, that I'm gonna tell our Corporation Council did a great job, the changing. So in other words, pay the starting rent that we say in contract all year for, get the CO or April 1st, 2020, was it, right?
Correct.
Which I look at it, it doesn't make any difference because our term of the contract, 20-some years, how many is it, 25 years, was it?
Yes, 25 year.
25 years, which way we start, we have to pay 25 years. But politically, it's not correct to we pay the rent, something we not move in. You know what I'm saying? Politically, it's not correct. So we should be say that not all year, A1, B, we say that we should pay the rent after you guys deliver the CO to City of Jersey City.
Yeah, well,
Final delivery.
We talked about this in the last, with the annex. First off, they wouldn't be able to get financing if we didn't commit to a day that we were going to pay. At the same time, it makes absolutely economic sense to agree to this, because if we were to bond and build this building, we would spend $6 million before we even got to the point of moving in. So when you say, is there a possibility that we'll pay a month of rent before we move in? That might be, Councilman, there might be. We made it longer this time because it was made shorter with the annex. So now it's 2 years, and I don't think there will be a time that we not move in. But $6 million is a huge savings that no rent payment will meet.
So why don't you do this?
Otherwise, you would have to find, this group would have to find $6 million to build the same building if we didn't do it this
So
way.
then why don't you, we go with the way Greg Crowder present for rent to pay, final CO, all your final CO, or the April 1st, 2020, whatever we say, the contract say, we go with that, but as you exchange with it, why don't you have some kind of guarantee, footing, foundation, so and so?
I think we addressed that, Councilman.
Listen, just build a building small enough so we can build a third one. And we see what
So,
happens.
in other words,
Thank you, okay. We are going to, any questions on second readings? All right. Resolutions?
Ten A is the emergency temporary appropriation.
Okay. 10B?
10B is, 10B and C, adopt the budget and the assessment roll of the Historic Downtown Special Improvement District. You were all given an amended assessment roll that includes the property that was added by ordinance a couple of meetings ago. D we did with David Diaz. E, resolution providing for the financing of a special emergency appropriation of the City of Jersey City and the County of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, for the by the issuance of special emergency notes of the city. F is a resolution commending the participants in the 2018 Shahaz Dance Academy recital. G is a resolution recognizing and commending Florence Holmes on being named 2018 Jersey City Senior of the Year. 10H, a resolution commemorating the life of Betty Jean Castleberry Hull. I, we're waiving the 20 days on the new demolition ordinance. J, K, and L are all canceling and refunding tax sale certificates sold in error. M, N, O, P, and Q are all resolution closing streets Saturday, May 19th for the Hamilton Pork Block Party. N, Sunday, June 3rd for the Ward Tour. O, June 9th for the Riverview Jazz Festival. P, June 23rd and June 24th for Project Eats. And Q, the Bolivian Parade and Festival. R, all the way through Z4, authorize the business administrator to execute discharges of mortgages at 156 Carlton, 218 Claremont, 255 Clerk, 50 Dwight Street, 256 Hutton Street. There are two, you'll see there are two different amounts for 256 Carlton. 59 Jewett, 13 Lembeck, 78 Martin Luther King Drive.
78, go ahead.
78. Sure.
That's not a
That's
discharge.
that's not the same thing.
Oh, it's a mortgage subordination. I apologize, it snuck in there.
So,
Okay.
I have questions about this one because
Sure.
this morning I got an email saying that they're changing the plans for this development. And some of the plans are major, so they're looking to take it back through the planning board. So, I don't think that we should be moving forward on 10Z if we're looking to possibly change plans.
Okay, so we can,
You're gonna have to, because they gotta go before the planning again. It's really different plan.
Just gonna pull it.
All right, Z is withdrawn.
10Z.
Z is withdrawn. Z1
They gotta go through the plan.
and Z2 are both affecting 50 Neptune Avenue in different amounts. Z3, 195.5 Union Street, and Z4, 100 Warner Avenue. Z5 is a resolution amending and ratifying the reauthorization of a professional services agreement with the law firm of Light, De Palma Greenberg LLC to represent the City of Jersey City, Department of Public Safety, Jersey City Police Department, Office of Equal Opportunity, Mayor Fulop, James Shea, Terrence Crowley, Gina Abwan, and Amanda Khan in the matter of Floyd Harley versus the City of Jersey City. Z6,
Z25, Ryan and Peter?
Where?
No. Z5.
Yes.
Because the City of Jersey City has an Office of Equal Opportunity, right?
Yes.
That when they have a promotion, that Office of Equal Opportunity not reviewed any promotion? Even though we have that department, the Office of Equal Opportunity, still we get the issue for politically somebody is not get promoting so-and-so, all kind of things we heard that. You know, I heard that the newspaper, we're gonna settle like a $2.2 million case because that, you know what I'm saying, right?
It wasn't a settlement.
It's not the settlement, what was it? Can't you?
It was a jury verdict. Yes.
It's gonna go back to trial? I mean,
well, that's,
We can talk about that.
then they don't, okay.
Another.
Yeah, okay. So we talk about later then.
okay, anything on Z5? Z6, a professional services agreement with the law firm of McAndrew Vuoto, serve as special counsel in bankruptcy matters. Z7, Pennington Law Group, to represent the city in the matter of Pierre Lindor Senior versus Capital One Financial Corporation et al. And Capital One Financial Corp versus the City of Jersey City. Z8, also with the Pennington Law Group, to represent Police Officer Morton Otundo in the matter of Sammy Faragala via the City of Jersey City. Z9, authorizing and ratifying the reauthorization of a award of a professional services contract with the law firm of Herald Law to represent the city in the matter of the acquisition of the easterly end of Wegman Court. Z10 we did earlier. Z11 is authorizing the settlement of the lawsuit Donna Mauer via the City of Jersey City. Z12 is authorizing the transfer of grant funds in the amount of $13,000 to the Jersey City Economic Development Corporation. Z13 is authorizing the execution of a gift license agreement between the Hamilton Park Neighborhood Association to use portion of Hamilton Park in order to construct certain improvements. Z14 was done earlier. Z15 authorizes the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the city and the American Lung Association to promote smoking cessation in the city's low-income multi-unit housing facilities. Z16, we've seen this on the agenda before. It's okay now, it's properly encumbered, authorizing a contract with Montclair State University to provide assistance to the City of Jersey City in connection with the Jersey City greenhouse gas inventory. 17, 18, and 19 were done. C20 is a resolution ratifying an agreement with Gold Type Business Machines for providing maintenance and support services for the Department of Public Safety. Now we're down to the last two. Z26, ratifying a tri-party shared services agreement pursuant to the Uniform Shared Services Consolidation Act between the City of Jersey City, the County of Hudson, and Hudson County Community College in connection with the administration and delivery of services to the public under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and through the Workforce Development Board. Z27 is a resolution authorizing the renewal of a license agreement with Jersey City Reservoir Alliance Incorporated for the purpose of providing public access to Reservoir Number 3, located at 113-116 Central Avenue.
And the Corporation Council, not the Corporation Council?
Yes.
There, I spoke with the Reservoir Tree Alliance. They are very thankful and happy with that. I'm really appreciative, okay?
There's a motion to adjourn at 8:24. Councilman Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Ridley. To adjourn, Councilperson Ridley. Prinzary. Bajano. Yun.
Yep.
Solomon. Rivera. Waterman. Lavaro. We're out of here at 8:24.